This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The government moves to overturn a judge's, quote, overstep. The fights for right to resume shantytown demolitions continue. June on track to record fewer COVID-19 cases than previous 2 months combined, and 2 passengers on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas test positive for COVID-19. What are the protocols? We'll talk about it. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, June 28th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Pamela Musgrove will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we will be talking with the Insurance Commission. They have a special webinar coming up this week, and we're going to be talking about the insurance industry in general in the Bahamas. Always a lot to talk about there. That's coming up. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, a Supreme Court judge overstepped the court's proper constitutional bounds when she ordered that the government must get approval from the court before it demolishes any structures in shantytowns on Abaco. That's what the government contends in court documents. On June 7th, Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson ordered the government to cease and desist further demolitions in shantytowns on Abaco. The following day, Attorney General Carl Bethel announced that the government will appeal the ruling. The appellants are Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, the Minister of Labor, Dion Fowkes, Minister of Public Works, Desmond Bannister, Attorney General Bethel, BPL, and Water and Sewerage. The government noting that Grant Thompson refused an application made by the appellants on December 19, 2019, following Hurricane Dorian, to lift the injunction related to some of the 177 applicants who were represented by Fred Smith QC, and an ongoing judicial review challenging the government's 2018 policy. which sought to get rid of shanty towns in the Bahamas. The government contends that there was no proper legal or factual basis for an injunction that restrains its activities until the determination of the substantive issues, because the substantive issues will not determine the legality of post-hurricane action taken by the government. The government said the judge was wrong to balance the rights of individuals living in shantytowns with a change of circumstances. In other news, between June 1st and June 26th, 679 new cases of COVID-19 were recorded in the Bahamas. The figure is substantially down compared to May, when 1,345 cases were confirmed. In April, 1,262 cases were confirmed, more than double the 613 cases recorded in March. 15 COVID-related deaths have been confirmed so far in June, though. While week-to-week numbers of new cases had been trending down for much of the month, there was an uptick last week. From May 30th through June 5th, 208 cases of COVID were confirmed. Between June 6th and June 12th, 195 new cases were recorded. 151 cases were confirmed between June 13th and 19th, and 119 confirmed between June 20th and June 26th. 60 cases, however, confirmed on Thursday alone. Over the weekend, 46 cases were recorded, 7 Friday and 39 on Saturday. After 2 guests on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas tested positive for COVID-19, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar assuring the public that there are protocols in place for such events. According to Royal Caribbean, the guests were both under the age of 16 and unvaccinated. The ship is home porting out of New Providence. De Aguilar says those matters have been discussed and a protocol has been set up. And he says that was followed in this particular case. And construction of 5 homes in Hurricane Dorian victims will begin in Central Pines, Abaco, within 2 weeks, according to the Prime Minister. He was speaking yesterday. He says those to be given to individuals from Abaco whose homes were destroyed. He was speaking during a post-Father's Day event in North Abaco. He says they would be given to those people free of charge. Overseas rescue workers digging feverishly for a 5th day today, stressing that they could still find survivors in the rubble of a collapsed Florida condo building. A hope family members clung to, even though no one has been pulled out alive since the first day the structure fell. The death toll rising to just 4 people, sending to a total from just 4 people to a total now of 9 confirmed dead, but more than 150 people are still missing in Surfside. Families of the missing rode buses to a site nearby from which they could watch teams at work Sunday. Firefighters, sniffer dogs, and search experts employing radar and sonar devices. U.S. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz saying at a Sunday evening news conference that she had met with some of the rescue workers and was able to hear the hope that they have. Some families had hoped their visit to the site near the 12-story building would allow them to shout messages to loved ones possibly buried deep inside the pile. As they returned to a nearby hotel, several paused to embrace as they got off the bus yesterday. And the UN Human Rights Chief, in a landmark report launched after the killing of George Floyd in the United States, is urging countries worldwide to do more to help end discrimination, violence, and systemic racism against people of African descent and make amends to them, including through reparations. The report from Michelle Bachelet, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, offers a sweeping look at the roots of centuries of mistreatment faced by Africans and people of African descent, notably from the transatlantic slave trade. It seeks a transformative approach to address its continued impact today. The report, a year in the making, hopes to build on momentum around the recent intensified scrutiny worldwide about the blight of racism and its impact on people of African descent, as epitomized by the high-profile killings of unarmed black people in the United States and elsewhere. That report aims to speed up action by countries to end racial injustice and impunity for rights violations by police, ensure that people of African descent and those who speak out against racism are heard, and face up to past wrongs through accountability and redress. Bachelet saying in a video statement, quote, "I am calling on all states to stop denying and start dismantling racism, to end impunity and build trust, to listen to the voices of people of African descent, and to confront past legacies and deliver redress." While broadcasting the issue of reparation in her most explicit way yet, while broaching it, Bachelet suggested that monetary compensation alone is not enough and will be part of an array of measures to help rectify or make up for injustices. In sports, just about all the top athletic stars in the country showed up to compete this past weekend in the B3A's national championship events at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Despite the threat of COVID-19, athletes came out and showed just how hard they've been working over the past 2 years to qualify for the Olympics. Stealing the spotlight over the weekend was a couple of junior standouts who both broke national records and solidified their positions on the Bahamas World Athletics World Under-20 Championships team. Anthony Strachan became the 9th Bahamian and 4th Bahamian in the women's 200 meters to qualify for the Tokyo Games as well. Strachan finished 2nd in the women's 200, crossing the finish line in 22.76 seconds. Sean Emile-Weibo, of course, winning in 22.18 seconds. Qualifying time for the Olympics, 22.80. Keyshawn Strawn and Wendell Miller, both still high school students at St. John's, rewrote the Bahamas' national record books in the javelin and 400 meters events, respectively. You can read more about that and about Stephen Gardner in today's Guardian Sports section. From swimming, the Nationals also take place over the weekend. It's been a long time coming, but on the final day to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, Bahamian and Barracuda Swim Club's Isaac Bastian was able to make the Olympic B standard time in the 100 meters breaststroke. Performance taking place at those championships over the weekend. In doing so, Bastian broke Dustin Tynes' 5-year-old national record of 1:01.56 in that event, clocking 1:00.86 in the preliminaries. At the 4-day meet, began on Thursday. Bahamian and Mako Aquatics' Laura Morley lowered her own national record of 2:27.83 in the women's 200 meters breast, posting a time of 2:26.91 in the timed finals. Read more about this in today's Guardian Sports section as well. And from the NBA, Chris Middleton showing once again that the Milwaukee Bucks have more than one player capable of taking over a game. He did it last night at the best possible time. Middleton scoring 20 of his playoff career high, tying 38 points in the fourth quarter alone, leading the Bucks to a 113-102 victory over the Atlanta Hawks for a 2-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Meanwhile, Trae Young scored 35 points for Atlanta, but was slowed in the final period. He stepped on an official's foot late in the third and injured his right ankle. He'll have an MRI on the ankle today. And from tennis, Wimbledon already has its first rain delay. Play on the morning of the grass court tournament has been delayed at least until noon London time today because of rain. We'll keep you posted. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got mid to low level troughing associated with the low pressure system just north of the islands. That's combining with streaming tropical moisture, going to continue to enhance shower activity as the system moves westward. Meanwhile, high pressure region will continue to maintain moderate to locally fresh winds through tonight. Some warnings for you. There remains a risk of rip currents at beaches in the central and southeast Bahamas, mainly along eastern shorelines. And there's also water spout activity possible today. And everybody's still being advised to remain hydrated as heat indices are expected to climb into the triple digits once again. For all areas today, forecast calls for variably cloudy, humid, and breezy conditions, widely scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms. All this continues through tonight. Smallcraft caution in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwestern islands, but east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeastern Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest Bahamas, but 4 to 6 feet in the central and southeast Bahamas. 80 degrees already right now in Nassau, 76 in Freeport. Look for highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but the heat index will be up to at least 100 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Pamela Musgrove is going to be joining us in just a bit. You can, we'll give you the numbers to call in just a bit as well. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic, and later in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking about insurance. We're going to be talking with the Insurance Commission. They have a seminar coming up this week. We're also going to be talking to them about the insurance industry in the Bahamas in general. We're going to get to that in a bit. But we have a lot to talk about in the news. Let's begin right now with that in the news. And in the news, the big headline of the Nassau Guardian: government moves to overturn a judge's overstep. That's a quote, overstep, as the fight for the right to resume shantytown demolitions resumes. Well, we'll resume shortly. We're going to get into that in just a bit. Just want to quickly talk about this. 2 passengers on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas, which is home porting right here in Nassau. 2 passengers tested positive for COVID-19. And what happens when that happens? Well, we'll tell you. Take a listen to this report from our Kyle Joaquin.
Caribbean Cruise Lines confirming that 2 passengers on board Adventure of the Seas tested positive for COVID-19 and disembarked in Grand Bahama today before returning to Florida. This comes as the tourism minister defends the protocols in place to avoid the potential spread of the virus.
Let me assure you that there have been endless discussions about what if someone becomes positive.
According to Royal Caribbean officials, the 2 passengers took a flight back to Florida after disembarking the ship in Freeport. It came after a CNBC article yesterday reported that 2 passengers, both unvaccinated as they are under the age of 16, tested positive for COVID-19 while on board the Adventure of the Seas, which now uses Nassau Harbor as a home port. An RCL rep says those 2 passengers were immediately quarantined, with only one showing mild symptoms. Other passengers in close contact with the miners tested negative and are all fully vaccinated. But the issue raises concerns about protocol for those who test positive while on board the cruise ship, as it heads back to the Bahamas for passengers to disembark.
So those matters have been exhaustively discussed, and a protocol has been set up. And in that particular instance, that protocol would have been followed. Those persons would have been disembarked, and their families, they would have been taken to an airport. They would have been put on a private plane, and they would have been sent back to the United States.
Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar stressing that there are strict protocols in place. He says, as harsh as it sounds, hundreds of passengers are flying in and out of Nassau weekly just to board and disembark cruise ships. So there will be positive cases.
So I just want everybody to be assured that there will be positive cases, obviously, but that matter has been very robustly discussed with our Ministry of Health officials, and protocols have been established to disembark them from the ship, get them out of country.
To board the ship, all adult passengers must be fully vaccinated. Last week, Lyndon Pindling International Airport was packed with visitors, all due to home porting. Ziegler says the issue was an oversight by Bahamas Air with scheduling flights, but said he doesn't anticipate that being an issue this weekend.
All right, so our Kyle Joaquin with that report there, and that was from Friday. That was from Friday as that ship was heading back to Nassau to take on another set of passengers. But, again, the 2 were under 16, so they weren't vaccinated as yet. It's just not a requirement there. But so there's still a lot of questions. How did they let them off from Grand Bahama? Okay. And they took a flight to the U.S. How did that happen? I mean, you need a rapid antigen test to get on a flight to the U.S., right? So how do they do that? They just will isolate them in the back of the plane? And how is that handled? But anyway, the minister is confident that they've got this handled in a way and there shouldn't be any issues. Okay, that sounds a little scary to me, but what do you make of it, folks? Let's hear what you have to say. Can they give us a call? What's happening there? Is that going to be... Yeah, anyway, let's try it. 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us at MorningBlend969 or facebook.com/MorningBlend969. And, of course, you can always text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line. Again, standard text rates apply. So let's hear what you have to say about that. We can continue to talk about that. Again, the big story in the Nassau Guardian today is government moves to overturn the judges overstep their word. We'll get to that in a moment, but we continue to get your messages on what we started off talking about. It's that private airplane? Okay, all right. Well, there you go, because that wasn't going to work with a commercial. Private, so that's the cruise ship is handling that then. All right, great. Thank you. Good call on that one there, texter. All right, well, there you go. Now, what about the ship? Do they have time to do that quick sanitizing? And but I guess everybody else was supposed to be vaccinated, except for the minors. Well, all right, so we're still in the middle of this. It's still scary. Although, of course, our numbers were looking a little bit better over the last few weeks, except for a few days last week. But definitely June on track to be lower than the previous 2 months. Our Rachel Scott writing about that today. Between June 1st and June 26th, 679 new cases of COVID were recorded in the country. The figure is substantially down from May, when 1,345 cases were confirmed. In April, another big month, 1,262 cases were confirmed, more than double the 613 cases recorded in March. And the numbers for this month trending in the right direction until this past week, when we had a day when we had 60 cases, 12 in Grand Bahama, all 12 with a history of travel. And I think it was about 40 maybe. Yeah, here in Providence alone for that one day. The numbers for this past weekend were a little bit better. But again, if you were thinking this was coming to an end, you're very, very confused. But we still have to keep our guard up. Definitely. All right. Another text here. It is complicated. This is the same thing the Prime Minister was explaining to the opposition leader in Parliament. One day you could test positive, the next day you could test negative. Yep. Well, yeah, we understand that. That's why people have to be careful. Without a doubt. Another text. They've done everything in their power to ignore the infection threat from tourist travel. I can assure you, if this story hadn't ended up in the international press, we would not have heard about it. Listen to how they downplayed the cases as they were asymptomatic. Well, haven't we identified those as the most dangerous cases? Because those people continue interacting with the public unaware. Renfrew Wells, as health minister, is the death of us. Well, okay, well. But yeah, you make some very good points there. And again, last week we were told that if we behave ourselves, and that's why last week Friday I was pointing out the fact about the 12 cases in Grand Bahama, all 12 with a history of travel, right? I guess that is we behaving ourselves, right? But that's if you leave this country, you run your risk of getting into some problems. So the external forces are greater in this fight. The external impact is playing a bigger role, well, as big a role, let's put it like that, than what's going on inside the country. Are they willing to admit that? They just want to blame it on us. Yes, there is a lot of reckless partying going on and people doing like they would have done in 2019, but there's a lot more to what's happening here. And I want to welcome Pamela Musgrove. Great to have you with us. Let's get your mic up there.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas. Good to be here.
Missed you last week. Great to have you back with us.
Good.
Hope
good
all is
back.
well.
Yep, all is well.
Yeah. So you're hearing these numbers, 2 cases on Adventure of the Seas.
You know, I liked how the Minister of Tourism handled that.
Yeah.
He was so cordial, and he was so empathetic with those those guests, and he talked about how, it's almost that's to be expected with all of the persons traveling to the airport.
Because they always behave
Because
themselves.
COVID is here to stay.
And they always behave themselves.
I'm just hoping that persons in government will have that same tone
Oh, dear.
and attitude when they deal with Bahamians.
Oh, no, never.
Or they can transfer the tone that they have with Bahamians over to the tourists.
Oh, no. What?
Yeah.
You can't do that, Pam.
Yeah.
No.
Because COVID is here to stay.
You can't do it. They're far
But
better
they
than
were
us.
so accommodative and cordial with them, and how, this is expected, and they have a protocol for dealing with it. But then on the side of Bahamians, y'all just behaving badly. Yeah. If they would just use that same tone that they use with them at home, maybe they would get better results.
That is something else. This text here. So, are those numbers from the cruise lines added to our dashboard? I don't believe so. I can't imagine why that would be the case. I don't think so. No. But we'll see. That's a good question. We can find out. This one says here, to go to the USA, you need a negative antigen test. So how are they allowed to travel? Yeah, I asked the same question, but the listener says they traveled on a private cruise, a private aircraft, because there was no other way there. I don't know how they were going to get on if they had tested, if they'd gone on a commercial flight, right? So, but private apparently. You need to listen to that again. Didn't hear that myself.
But you can go to the U.S. if you have COVID.
If you test
positive? Yeah, the leader of the opposition went
but
to.
No, that wasn't commercial.
No, but I mean, they're U.S. citizens. So I don't think the U.S. or maybe they were. They're not gonna.
Who's what?
The person. Well, I'm assuming that. I shouldn't assume that. The persons who.
Right, but not on a commercial flight. They can't. They wouldn't let you on a commercial flight if you test positive, would they? No way.
Yeah,
What?
Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe not.
Right. All right. Let's see. Let me go through this article here and see if they say anything more private. I didn't hear the thing, but the texter said they heard that, and that would make more sense.
But maybe the cruise ship is responsible for that.
Yes,
like
that's what I'm thinking.
organizing,
Right.
and so they
They
have a
would have
private aircraft that will
Yes.
take you to the U.S. and have you quarantined.
They were immediately quarantined. One guest is asymptomatic and the other guest is experiencing mild symptoms. Those in the immediate travel partner are vaccinated and have tested negative. Close contacts were quickly identified and tested. All are vaccinated and tested negative. Royal Caribbean said the guests and their travel parties disembarked on Thursday in Freeport to return to Florida. 92% of the guests on Adventure of the Seas are fully vaccinated, and the remaining 8% are under 16 years old. 100% of our crew fully vaccinated. The return of the cruise. Okay, this one doesn't say anything about private, but I'm. That's more than likely the only way that could have worked. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we need to have, for the time being, something not allowing minors to travel on cruises.
No, they won't
Yeah.
do that.
You think what? Well, I mean, this is going to be. That's going to happen a lot.
Have you been to Florida lately?
I have not, but that's going to happen every week.
Dwight.
There's going to be
Dwight.
teenagers.
The people have moved on, Dwight.
Oh, okay.
The people have moved on.
Well, you think people like to be quarantined?
Huh?
People like to be quarantined and
No, kids are all over. Kids are all over.
Well, they could be all over, but not on a cruise.
Yeah.
No.
But I think they are thinking that, I think they said 82% of the persons are, so they basically have something like a herd immunity.
Well,
And the idea of
Not
on
quite.
the ship.
not quite.
Yeah, because if you have 82%, because the numbers are 70 or 60 to 80% of the population, but within that ship, to have 82% vaccinated and the balance not vaccinated, and they're young people, the chances of it spreading and becoming serious won't be the issue. And then you had 2 persons who tested positive, but they didn't have to go to the hospital,
Yeah.
right? So,
Well, let's read some more of these. Someone says here, how many Bahamian front desk agents, maids, servers, busboys, flight attendants, pilots, taxi drivers, and Junkanoo performers were exposed to those 2 cases? Can Diagler give us an update on their contact tracing efforts, please? Yeah, what happened when they were here, right? Boarding the ship from here. When did they test positive? When did they get it, right? Those are good questions. This one says, I wonder why those kids weren't fully vaccinated, seeing that COVID-19 is everywhere. Well, you know why, right? That's not a thing right now, vaccinating youngsters like that.
I mean, I think Pfizer can, but
Right.
I think they're focused on like 18 and older.
Yeah. All right. All right. So there you go. Well, we'll see. We'll see how many more. I think that maybe temporarily they might want to avoid having teenagers on these cruises, just for a little bit. You're right. These are cramped, not really cramped, but I mean, you're on a floating city.
So basically, what you're saying is avoid having unvaccinated persons
Well,
on the cruise.
Hey, man, y'all wanted to try that for an open air stadium, but you don't see the reason for doing that on a cruise ship? Oh, that's interesting.
But I would think,
or maybe it's because Bahamians were in the stadium.
Well, there you go.
If it were a
There
stadium
you
filled
go.
with
There
tourists.
you go.
Oh, no.
obviously
No
a
one needs to be
different standard.
vaccinated.
Yeah.
I get it now. Thank you, Pam. You've cleared it up for me.
But I think the Adventures would say that they had a successful voyage. 2 persons on a ship that had, how many persons boarded the ship? I think that's a success.
Okay.
And no serious outbreak.
Good stuff. I hope those 2 recover quickly. And, so we wish them all the best. All right. So, again, let's get back to the big headline story in the National Guardian today. Our Jasper Ward writing about this. A Supreme Court judge overstepped the court's proper constitutional bounds. That's a quote. When she ordered that the government must get approval from the court before it demolishes any structures in shanty towns on Abaco. Those are the grounds the government intends to argue on when it takes this matter back to court. On June 7th, Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson ordered the government to cease and desist further demolitions in shanty towns on Abaco. The following day, Attorney General Carl Bethel announced that the government will appeal the ruling. The appellants are Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, Minister of Labor Deanna Folks, Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister, the Attorney General, and BPL and the Water and Sewage Corporation. The government noted that Grant Thompson refused an application made by the appellants on December 19, 2019, following Hurricane Dorian, to lift the injunction related to some of the 177 applicants who are represented by Fred Smith QC in an ongoing judicial review challenging the government's 2018 policy, which sought to get rid of shanty towns in the Bahamas. The government contends that there was no proper legal or factual basis for an injunction that restrains its activities until the determination of the substantive issues, because the substantive issues will not determine the legality of post-hurricane action taken by the government. And let's read that one more time. Right. All right. The government contends that there was no proper legal or factual basis for an injunction that restrains its activities until the determination of the substantive issues, because the substantive issues will not determine the legality of post-hurricane action taken by the government. All right, let's process that for a bit there. So, okay. No matter what happens there,
Exactly.
it won't determine how they go moving forward. Basically, I think that's what they're saying there.
So
Okay.
in essence, saying that they cannot stop
Right.
the government from doing what it wanted to do.
Because with the outcome of this trial will not
They
determine
need a
how they
substantive
do this.
action, but the substantive action won't be determined, will not determine.
They're saying whatever comes out of this trial won't influence how they deal with things, it seems. So to stop it because we should wait for the judgment is foolish, since it doesn't matter what comes out of
Because
this.
the government can go ahead and do what it wants
Yes.
to do. That's what it's
Basically,
That's what the
it
government
seems
is
like.
saying.
That's what it
that
seems
they
like
have
they're saying.
power to do what
Yeah.
it want to do
And this
outside
case
of
is
the court.
irrelevant to anything else, and whatever you decide will not. That's only going to deal with those 177 people, but it doesn't matter what the other seems so. Okay, the government said the judge was wrong to balance the rights of individuals living in shanty towns with the change of circumstances. It said the rights of individuals in those communities following Dorian, a deadly Category 5 hurricane that ravaged Abaco in September 2019, will not be determined by the judicial review, and that there is, quote, no logical or rational basis for seeking to balance those historic rights that are in issue in the judicial review with the change of circumstances, which, by definition, is not an issue. Right. The government said there is no proper basis for any such balance. Now, according to the court documents, quote, the judge also erred in considering that it was appropriate to restrain the exercise of powers under the 2019 Disaster Reconstruction Authority Act, frustrated the operation of the act, and overstepped the court's proper constitutional bounds in ruling that the powers under the act could not be exercised without the sanction of the court. The judge failed to recognize that after a disaster zone has been declared under the 2019 Act, it is the Disaster Reconstruction Authority which exercises powers under the Act. The DRA is a separate and independent legal entity from government and is not a part of the judicial review proceedings. The judge therefore misunderstood the operation of the 2019 Act in a fundamental way in considering that the government should make an application to court, supported by evidence, prior to powers under the 2019 Act relating to properties in shantytowns in Apico being exercised. It was a further connected error for the judge to rule that the court could decide when powers under the DRA should be exercised. All right, so this gets very legal jargony here.
It's very technical.
Yeah.
I think what the government is trying to say that it's a law unto itself. And I think that's wrong. I think they're setting themselves up to lose another case. Right? Because that's what the courts are for. The courts, when there's a disagreement, you go to the court to solve it. And you just generally in the country, if you have a tenant in your place, and let's say that tenant hasn't paid you in a year, right? And you go to you cannot, it's not legal for you to just evict that tenant out. Now, you can tell the tenant that they need to leave, and if the tenant agrees, then it's a wonderful situation. But the tenant can say, no, I dispute this. It's not legal for you, although persons do it in the country, they move the doors or they get someone to bully them out, you must go to the court in order to get for the court to hear your case to determine if that tenant has to leave. And let's say the court ruled that tenant must get out. They will give them a time frame, and you still cannot evict them if they decide not to leave. You have to go back to the courts, and you must get an eviction order in order to remove them. So that's the system in the country.
That basically applies here.
Well, generally speaking, they had to go to the court. The government cannot just go and break your place down. They say they have the law, so they go to the court to defend that law, and the court made a ruling. The court asked them for evidence or for proof or for something, reason for doing what they did. So all they have to do is submit that. If they feel that the law, they stand on good authority with the law, then present that to the court to say, this is why we're doing what we're doing. But based on this argument, is basically they're saying the court has no jurisdictions over this. I think it's just my opinion. It's flawed.
It's going to be a challenge.
It's going to be another case they lose.
All right. Let's hear what you have to say, folks. Tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Text us 422-4796. We're getting this phone line situation sorted out in just a second here. But continue to text us. Here's a text. The government has said that they do not have a problem violating the Constitution. No lawyer of the FNM had a problem with this. The Prime Minister has had absolute power for over a year. The FNM has no respect for the law unless it lets them do what they want to do.
I think that's what they're thinking, that they think they have this power. No. You have to go to the court system and present your case. I thought it was, to me, I didn't think the ruling was difficult. She's asking them to present their case. So if you have a case, go and present it.
And she's saying only until, right? It's only going to be a little while. She says it's going to be soon that she makes her ruling. And so it's not like it's going to be indefinitely.
Yeah, no, but I don't think you should wait for the ruling. She sent them off to do something.
And it shouldn't be that hard.
Present your case.
Yeah.
Why? What are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Present the case. That's what the government's lawyer is supposed to be able to do, right?
Apparently the rules are for everybody but them.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. And that's what we've seen throughout this pandemic.
Yeah. This text here, Bannister said that the paper is not worth the ink that it was written on. Okay, he is so wrong. Egg on his face. He should have been held in contempt. Okay. All right. This one says here, we might as well let the courts run the country. Then
I think the courts are there to bring balance, because obviously you're seeing what's happening. You see that people who are in government want to think that they can do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. You need some kind of objective balance to that, and I think we need the courts.
Yeah.
We need the courts.
Absolutely. That's what the system is all about, right? Come on now, folks. And they are only interpreting the laws. If you don't want these challenges, you need to have some better laws that are easily understood. All right?
We need the courts.
Don't just put any old person who comes smiling in your face in the house. These are the law makers.
Exactly.
Right?
Not anybody you pick up who don't know you have an interest in reading or
My God.
understanding the law.
Right?
The only power they would have over us? Ignorance. The only power over us is ignorance. When we don't know, they can do what they want to do.
Do we need to say it again? Be careful who you elect to put in that house. They are the law makers.
Exactly.
And if every single thing they do causes a court case, then we've got a problem.
Big problem. They don't understand the law.
This is the direction the country's heading in. Every matter has to go to court because the laws are very odd and can be interpreted in so many different ways. So we've got some mirror looking to do here. We've done this. We are partially to blame for some of this nonsense. All right. Continue to text us, 422-4796, and tweet at MorningBlend969 or Facebook, facebook.com/MorningBlend969. What's this? Wow, this is a tweet coming in here. I'll pull that up in a second. Let me read some more text messages while I get that up. This one says here, what's going on with the Attorney General? Is he well and okay? Why does it appear that he keeps losing every case that comes before him on behalf of us Canadian people? I mean, how many has it been? Has it been that many? But again, there have been a lot of legal challenges. We've got some very active lawyers who are having a lot of fun at the expense of our lawmakers. They're finding loopholes and are challenging them.
And I support all of that, Dwight.
Why not?
I support that because we tend to be stuck.
Yeah.
We tend to be stuck. And so I support persons going out there and challenging stuff, and so we could get a conclusion to it.
Yes, and come up with better laws. Are we seeing that, though? Are they tweaking the laws so that we don't have these issues in the future?
And that's why we send them to Parliament, to craft new laws, amend laws.
Yeah.
We send them there to do that.
But y'all
that
don't
in the
want
best interest of us as a citizenry.
Y'all don't want your lawmakers doing this. You seem to want the lawmaker to come to your birthday party or your wedding, your funeral, or whatever, to come to your house.
They can come to that on their spare time if they want to.
okay.
But the primary reason is to go to Parliament and to draft and amend laws that are in the best interest of the country.
All right. This one here says, Pam, the court can't rule against a law. For example, for running the red light, you can get a ticket from the police. The court can't change that and say the police must bring you to them. This is what the judge did.
No, but if you ran the red light and you disagree with the police, then you can take the police to court.
Yes. And you make your case.
And the police, and then the judge can say, "Show me proof that this person ran the light."
And the judge might decide with you over the police, even though by law,
when there's a dispute,
right.
you go to the
So
court
that happens
for resolution.
all the time.
Yeah.
And you make your case to the court, and they understand. Like, yeah, well, why didn't this officer understand you when you said
Do
that?
we as a country want mere men that are at minimum in Parliament for 5 years, like whatever they did prior to, and you don't know what they can do afterwards, to be determining and dictating to us?
You know the answer.
Outside of the law, what we should or should not do. Do we want that?
Apparently.
No, I don't think we do. Because these are mere men. And we don't even get to decide. They decide who they put before us. And then we just vote. I don't think we want that.
Well, we got to stop acting
So
like that.
the
then.
court
We've got
is
to
to
stop
check
acting like that.
for them.
It is definitely. This person says, to me, the ruling by the judge made not an iota of sense, but I'm going to sit back and watch how politics is going to destroy this country. Well, there are tons of people saying it, including the opposition, saying that this is how it should have gone, that it should go to the court since the matter is before the court during this period. And if you're going to make a lot of people were saying that. A lot of few people who want to be lawmakers were saying that.
And if the court ruled in a way as it interprets the law, right, then what should the lawmakers do, right?
Absolutely. Is what
Go
we just
back
said.
to
Go
Parliament
back and fix it.
And fix it.
You sure you need this recess? There's some things you need to be fixing.
Yeah, fix it.
Fix the stuff.
If the court ruled that, you know what, the interpretation of this is how it is, and you don't think that's right, then you take your smart Attorney General office and the Attorney General and you go and fix
This is
The
what
law.
Senator Fred Mitchell's saying all the time. You're giving lots of work to that fellow from Grand Bahama, right? You're just making it too easy. Fix the laws.
Fix it. That's all.
But you want your summer break. Okay. All right. More messages here. Someone says, the ruling from the court, in my view, was fair. All the government needs to do is take the evidence that they have to the court, and the courts will give them the okay to continue. Simple.
That's it.
They don't want the work.
That's it. No.
They don't want the It's too hot for all that, man.
It's too much
It's
work.
too hot.
It's too much work, Dwight. It's too much work.
It's fine for you to go gather up all your documents and go find your Grammy's birth certificate and to go and, right?
This is not what I
gosh.
thought it would be like when I decided to be a member of parliament. No, I didn't think it was going to be like this.
You want me to work? Man. Oh, boy. This one says, the laws for tenants do not apply to legal squatters. They are not legal tenants.
Isn't there a law that, well, a law, but I guess it's a law, that if you are on a property for a certain a period of time, that you can settle there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if that applies to these people.
I'm just saying.
But yes.
Right? A lot of people in this this country got property like that.
Mm-hmm.
When they came over way back, they just settled in, and it was probably crown land, and the government didn't bother with them. The Privy Council ruled against our Quieting Act.
Well, they said that we should do something about it.
But have we done anything about it?
Not one thing, Pam.
Not one
Not
thing.
one.
Not one thing.
And I believe the same thing's going to happen here with the citizenship.
Yeah.
They're going to recommend that we
Yeah.
have a referendum. You think we'll do it?
Yeah.
Ha!
Yeah.
Boy, anyway, another one here. The government is used to the law only helping the wealthy, so they take special effort to not offend the wealthy. Now, poor people have access to lawyers, and the government doesn't know what to do. The government tried to raise taxes for the people of Lyford Key, and a strongly worded letter was enough for them to reverse course. The law is used to control the poor. It is written in favor of the wealthy. Yes, very clear. Very clear. That's how it works here. This one says here, these individuals built their homes in defiance of the law. They knew that they weren't supposed to build there. I think you're missing this important point.
No, but you know what
we're
happened?
not missing
They
the
were
point.
allowed to do it. They were allowed to do it. I gave the example of the tenant. You allowed your tenant to not pay you for a whole year, right? They were allowed to do it. And this farm came after. The farm really sprung up after
Yeah, some of these homes are new.
the hurricane, right? So they allowed it because they don't have the proper check and balance. So you allow them to be like that. And so the court is just saying, let's hear the case.
Yeah, we're not missing the point. But I mean, is it, again, as Pam asked, is it that difficult for you to provide the evidence to the court to say, here's another one. This wasn't here before. Look at this. This needs to go. Is it that difficult? Right? If you've been doing what you're supposed to be doing, a lot of people said that before, watching and noticing that, hey, where's your permit? Who are you? What is this? Is this your land? Who gave you?
Yeah.
If you'd been doing
Yeah.
that, you wouldn't have been in this situation.
Yeah.
But you weren't.
Because a lot
And
of the
now.
squatting is on government crown land.
Yeah.
A lot of the squatting goes on government crown land.
This one here. The judge can't insist that all matters relating to running the light now be brought to her. Let's get back to that example.
No, the judge can't request that, but you could have an individual who probably could hire a lawyer like Fred Smith and decides to fight for their rights.
Okay. I just saw this one come in. There's a bunch of text messages before this, but I have to read this one immediately because I saw the first line of it. Stop knocking the Quieting Act. Huh? When we got independence, the rulers ran away because they thought they would be treated the same way they treated the black Bahamians. We didn't want them coming back, claiming land when things settled. All right, well, that was then, but
Yeah,
it's not
it's
working
still a
now.
problem right now,
Lots
yeah.
of big issues now, right? So maybe that worked. And who did that work for, really? Anyway, but maybe that worked for some people. But the time has come for that to go. Just like that debate that we had last week, the time for that has gone now. With the issue for citizenship that's been causing so much confusion. We have technology that can prove the things that we didn't have in 1973. We don't have to be acting like it is 1973. Let's grow up. Let's grow up, people, right? I looked this up just to make a point last week. I didn't get to say it on the air, but since 1973, I don't think they've had, I think, one. But and there was one right before. But the U.S. has amended their constitution twice since 1970 at least, right? Right? Hmm? And we can go through a list of countries that have amended their constitutions since that time while we've been hanging on to this antiquated document here.
You know, I was thinking about it, and this is probably something different from what we were talking about, but we were talking about, you know, aging ourselves. We can be 48 this year, right? 48, right? And I was looking at it because I was thinking about something, and you know, how it's so difficult for us as a country, our economy to grow. And I went and I was looking at the Hotel Encouragement Act, right? And how they talked about, you know, they have these requirements in terms of if you're doing a business, if you're non-Bahamian, or if you're using foreign capital, or you're applying to the government for concession under the Hotel Encouragement Act. And then the benefits available to these investors, right? You get custom duty exemption from the payment of custom duties in respect of all material necessary for the construction, equipment, and furnishing of a new hotel in order to allow the facility to open for business. These concessions are also offered for the rehabilitation, re-equipping. And then they go on to say how you get a tax exemption on real property taxes, right? And then I have a friend who is looking to bring a franchise, right? Over here, right? And the franchise, the cost for the product, she's to bring all the product over, is 60% below the retail value. So that sounds wonderful, right? The duty on that product is over 30%. Wow. And then VAT is 12%. Yep. So you already eat off 42% before you even kind of like started the business, right? And then you have overpriced, unreliable electricity. And so they probably have to purchase a generator because, you know, you need to have the temperature at a certain level, right? And then I thought about it. If that hotel wanted to bring that same franchise over, they will get all the exemption on all the materials and the equipment because it's in the hotel, right? And we wonder why Bahamian businesses cannot thrive in this country. That's why downtown have a bunch of T-shirt stores and yellow gold and white silver, right?
Wow, Pam.
There's nothing else. What can you put down there that will help you make money? Because you even started the business, they're eating out at the profit. So the government from way back then thought it necessary, while it may have been appropriate back then, it was necessary to provide incentives for these people to come here and do business.
Absolutely.
Right? If you have to provide them incentives to survive and be profitable, why don't you think you need to provide Bahamians with incentives to provide to survive and be profitable? And we wonder why our economy cannot grow.
Yep.
It's because of that.
Yep. So many things I want to say in response to what you just talked about. We'll talk about that after the break, though. Let's take that break now. When we come back, more on this and more on what direction you're heading in this morning, Pam, on why we seem so willing to break the backs of Bahamians, but everybody else. Welcome. The red mat, the red welcome mat is rolled out. The gold mat is the gold carpet rolled out for people. What's going on here? Anyway, we'll talk about that after the break. This is Morning Blend on a Monday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. It's day 5 of the search for survivors in that collapsed condo building near Miami. 9 people are known dead, 152 still missing. But rescuers say they have hope. Here's our Julie Walker.
It's a hope family members clung to, even though no one has been pulled out alive since the first day the building fell. Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Cava said yesterday the death toll rose by 4 people to a total of 9, but more than 150 are still missing.
Our top priority continues to be search and rescue and saving any lives that we can.
Alfredo Lopez, who lived on the 6th floor, was able to get out alive. He was at church Sunday praying for others.
I hope to God that they're going to find somebody, but man, you know, if you saw what I saw, nothingness, and then, you know, you go over there and you see, like, you know, all the rubble. How can somebody survive that?
I'm Julie Walker.
It's going to be 114 degrees in Portland, Oregon today, 105 in Seattle. The National Weather Service is warning this is not just record-breaking heat, it's dangerous. Meteorologist Dan Peterson.
This week we're expecting Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Montana to have several days in a row of high heat with record-breaking temperatures at multiple locations across these states.
Power's out for thousands of people as the hot temperatures get hotter. The Weather Service says things may cool down tomorrow. The Pentagon says President Biden authorized military airstrikes against militia groups near the border between Iraq and Syria. The targeted facilities were used by the militias to launch attacks against U.S. troops in Iraq. The militias used unmanned aerial vehicles, says the Pentagon. This is AP News. You don't hear this often.
Extremely sensitive defence documents about the British military have been found at a bus stop in England. The top-secret papers included details on a possible UK military presence in Afghanistan, as well as predictions on potential Russian reactions to a British ship in waters off Crimea. An anonymous member of the public contacted British broadcaster the BBC when they found the approximately 50-page document in a soggy heap behind a bus stop in Kent, southeast of London. The Ministry of Defence said an employee had reported the loss of the documents last week. The department also said it takes security of information extremely seriously and has launched an investigation. Karen Chamas, London.
Serena Williams says she will not go to the Tokyo Olympics, but she didn't say why during a video conference with reporters yesterday. The games begin on July 23rd. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
7:42 time for your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic at this hour, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing heavy traffic on Sir Marla Butler Highway. Heavy traffic on Sir Marla Butler Highway. Northbound lanes from Fire Trail up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Glass Road looking a lot better for you this morning if you're in the northbound lane there heading towards JFK. And even Blue Hill Road not looking so bad north of Soldier Road in the usual hot spot there as you approach Independence Drive. Elsewhere, just at the major intersections, you'll be seeing some issues, except for Robinson Road, which is looking pretty bad for you from Soldier Road up to just past Old Trail Road. It's going to look pretty congested there. We've got some timing issues with that light at Robinson and Old Trail. That's been causing some problems. It's also backed up the other direction, eastbound on Robinson towards that intersection with Soldier Road. But that's your hottest spot right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Land Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And we've got another check of your weather for today. We've got mid to low level troughing associated with the low pressure system just north of the Bahamas, along with streaming tropical moisture that's going to enhance shower activity as the system moves westward. Meanwhile, high pressure ridging will continue to maintain moderate to locally fresh winds through tonight. There's a risk of waterspout activity, and beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution along eastern shorelines due to rip currents. And everybody being advised to remain hydrated as heat indices are expected again to climb into the triple digits today. For all areas, your forecast calls for variably cloudy, humid, and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms possible through tonight. Smokecraft caution remains in effect across the central and southeast Bahamas. High temperatures getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but again, the heat index is going to be near 100 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, streaming tropical moisture will keep rain chances elevated across the islands through Wednesday. So for tomorrow, Tuesday, look for variably cloudy, warm, and breezy conditions with isolated to widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday, variably cloudy, warm, and breezy with isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, we're watching two areas. Got a small low-pressure system located about 300 miles east-southeast of Savannah, Georgia. The associated shower and thunderstorm activity remains disorganized, with most of it displaced to the northwest of the surface center due to strong upper-level winds. The low is forecast to move quickly west-northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour, crossing over the warmer waters of the Gulf Stream later this morning. And it has some potential to become a tropical depression or tropical storm before reaching the coast of Georgia or southern South Carolina by this evening. The system has about 60% chance of development through the next 5 days. The second area is a broad area of low pressure located with a tropical wave producing small clusters of showers and thunderstorms over the eastern tropical Atlantic. We've been telling you about that since last week. Now has about a 20% chance of development through the next 5 days. At the moment, none of those systems pose any threat to the Bahamas. But that is your morning blend weather check brought to you by Rev Cable Bahamas. Rev, you and us together.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations,
unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Meet Jackie. Jackie's a hard worker with a steady income, but she has a personal loan and multiple credit cards to pay off. To keep her account current, Jackie opted for a loan from Fidelity Bank to consolidate her debt into one monthly payment and earn interest on a built-in savings account. Be like Jackie. Call 356-7764 to book a complimentary financial coaching session. Fidelity also offers virtual assistance. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
The Jeff Rogers Basketball Camp is back. That's right, it's time for the 33rd annual Jeff Rogers Basketball Camp, July 5th through July 30th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily for boys and girls ages 5 to 18 years at the Blue Hill Sporting Complex Sports Center. Registration forms available at the Seventh-day Adventist office, Tonic Williams Darling Highway, and at jeffrogersbasketballcamp.com. Call 818-4509 for more details. It's the 33rd annual Jeff Rogers Basketball Camp, July 5th through July 30th.
Postpaid with the Live just got better. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan.
800 text and talk minutes, and 15 gigabytes of data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty More, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you're good at home and good to roam. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best.
Believe in best.
Digital banking, online, RBC.
RBC Banking Online. Pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free. RBC.
Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
Let's face it, in an increasingly competitive market, your business needs a competitive edge. That means offering your employees the benefits they want. Give them the benefit of retiring their way with the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. Choose from some of the best performing investment funds in the market while taking advantage of low administrative costs and professional management. Whether you're a team of 2 or 2,000, our pension specialists can design a plan for you. Contact us at pensions@rfgroup.com to learn more about the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. RF, money at work.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wait, the Bob can say it, wait. Are you going to say it with them? You ready? Let's go back. All right. Sailboat, got the breeze to sail. We need breeze. Sailboat, got the breeze to sail. We need breeze. Sailing boat in the harbor, got the breeze to sail, yeah. Sailing boat in the harbor, got the breeze to sail, yeah. There's a motorboat in the harbor, and I hope.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove on this Monday morning. We're talking about what's in the news, talking about a couple of issues, talking about COVID a little bit, and also talking about this, what the government intends to do when they challenge the Supreme Court judge over what they're calling oversteps and in their fight to resume shantytown demolitions. That's leading us to all kinds of things about how we craft laws and who is responsible for that and the role that we play in causing there to be people who might not know what they're doing when they come up with laws. And we're talking about it all. All right. So this text, I read that before the break about the quieting titles, right? This person says, I'm not saying the Quieting Act is still relevant, but if we can't acknowledge why it was relevant, we can't explain why it is no longer needed.
No, but see, I understand that, right? I understand that to a certain extent. Like I said this before. I don't fault our forefathers for what happened. Based on the circumstances at that time, they did what they did. What I am faulting is the fact that we continue on with what we are doing.
Yeah.
You know, I said to you offline that I had a BlackBerry.
My God.
I had a BlackBerry.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had that BlackBerry, that was the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
But the minute that other thing came out, I threw that BlackBerry away.
Right. And if you were to be walking around with a BlackBerry today, you'd be the laughing stock of the whole country.
It just makes no sense. Even though BlackBerry invented the cell phone type,
smartphone type thing. Well, between them and Palm. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Right? But it's irrelevant. And so my point is, yes, there were things that were done way back then. It was relevant at that time. It is absolutely not relevant today.
You've got to shift with the times, adjust.
And that's why we need to send intelligent people to Parliament who can dig through these things and who can argue them properly to make changes in our best interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. All right, we're getting a lot of messages here. Someone says, I hold no brief for the AG, but it used to be said and demonstrated that no one can win against the government. Now, this government could hardly win a major case. It's suspicious. Well, I don't think that's correct. But, well, why should that have been the case, right? If and again, this goes back to a lot of the rules that we're making, the laws that we're making. Some of these can be defeated. They are unconstitutional. They are questionable. They are challenging, that people can pick them apart. Good lawyers can say, well, that's crazy. Does that make sense to you, folks? Does that sound like that makes sense to you? How did anybody allow this to pass? And this is what happens when you have these supermajorities too, probably.
No, I'm convinced, right? We do not need super majorities. The idea of the super majority would have been that if you were honest and you did what you said you would have done, it would get passed because you have a super majority. But we've seen it happen time and time again. They say what they want to say, or they say what they think we want to hear in order to get in there. And then once they get in there, they ignore everything, all the things that they said that we agreed with. They ignore those stuff, and then they create these new things that they're going after. So the supermajority is not working in our best interest as a country.
Well, how do you avoid that here? Are you going to tell people for this constituency, clearly this one's the best one, you got to put this one in, but for this one, we really feel that you need to put this one in there?
No, I think we should look more and more at the candidates. I think what the thing with the supermajority is we look at the party. So the party that is in power, and I think it's the leader. See, I said this before. These parties have no way to deal with leaders that are out of favor. And so they allow the leader to take the entire ship down.
Yeah.
Right? If you have a leader
that's the system that we have, though, right? And it's hard to avoid that.
Yeah, because that's how we operate it. The leader is not in favor with the public.
But you can't vote for the best person in your constituency if that person's attached to a clown. You can't.
Yeah,
a clown leader. You've got this party has the better leader. I trust them more. But look who they're running in my constituency.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to put this.
I looked at the candidates that have been announced so far, and I don't know if you notice it, a lot of them are they're young, inexperienced in government. I think many people are, but not even like at that point where they are experienced in their own discipline, right? From a distance, right? And I think maybe that's the strategy on both parties so that they don't have that disruption. Because I think the PLP saw it in the last administration where people, they had members of parliament that were voted against them. And then they have this administration is seeing it now as well. And so maybe they are picking those persons so that they don't have to deal with that going into the future.
They can control those people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Control. And you know how they control? With money. With money. See, Dr. Sands resigned. He was able to go into his private practice and he was able to work and take care of his family. Because other than that, he'd only get the $28,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right? You have Travis, who was fired, but Travis is back in the fold. Right? You have the speaker who has, went independent, but it's difficult for them. Right? To remove him now. So a lot of it is money because you have to take care of your family. If you don't have a job and you're a member of parliament and you're a parliamentary secretary or you're a cabinet minister, you're getting between $60,000 to over $80,000 a year when you add the perks. And then if that is removed from you, if you step out of line with the party and they remove that from you, you're only left with the $28,000. And if you don't have income outside of that, then you're in the wilderness.
Yeah. Interesting point there. People, think about it. And again, what we've been saying, look at all these sob stories we've been hearing during this budget debate, because this will be the swan song for many of these politicians who won't be running again. And look at the way they feel they were treated by their parties, one in particular, right? We can see this is going to be a very common occurrence going forward for some of these people. Right? They use you to get in, to get the numbers, and they will treat you any way they want once you are in there. And if you aren't convenient or helpful anymore, you'll be singing some sorry songs in the House as well.
Yeah. I follow British politics, and over the weekend, their health secretary resigned because it's interesting. CCTV showed him embracing a female outside that's not his wife, right? And
You'd have been offered many new positions here if this were here. But there you go on.
And the public was outraged. And they were outraged because this is the guy who was preaching to them about social distancing and not, because at that time they were not supposed to socialize with anybody outside of their household.
It was a big deal when they were allowing hugs again in the UK.
Yes. And so when they saw the CCTV with him, and then Boris Johnson, the prime minister, he kind of, stood up to defend him. He's doing a good job, blah, blah, blah. And when his backbenchers and other parliamentary colleagues revolt and told him, the 1922 committee was forming a meeting to tell him that they were going to deal with him, the secretary, 48 hours later, resigned.
Yeah.
Resigned.
Wow.
Over
a hug.
Over a hug.
Oh, my.
A hug where the CCTV, so the former health secretary said he didn't know why he put that in office. Why did he put that thing in the CCTV in the office? But that's how serious they take it.
Yep.
And you
have to
compare
do the
that to
honorable
us.
thing. Yep.
And that's under Westminster system.
My goodness. We'll be back after the news. A lot more. Stay with us.
It's Monday, June 28th, 2021, and you're listening to the Guardian News Network Morning Report. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. Thanks for tuning in. Topping the news. Government has taken action to have overturned a decision by Justice Cheryl Cran-Thompson that stops further demolitions in shantytowns on Abaco without the court's approval. In court documents, government contends the judge overstepped the court's proper constitutional bounds and that there was no proper legal or factual basis for an injunction that restrains its activities until the determination of the substantive issues, which are the rights of individuals in those communities, because the substantive issues in that case will not determine the legality of post-hurricane action taken by government. Government also argued the judge erred in considering that it is appropriate for the court to restrain the authority of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, which is an independent legal authority separate from government, and that she failed to recognize that under the 2019 Act, after a disaster zone has been declared, it is the DRA which exercises powers under the Act relating to those properties in Abaco. Government maintains the judge overstepped the court's proper constitutional bounds in ruling that the power under the 2019 Act could not be exercised without the sanction of the court. It said that improperly usurps the powers of the DRA under the Act, which allows the authority to remove or destroy or order the removal or destruction of any building, structure, or other property. Justice Grant-Thompson has already adjourned that original judicial review of the rights of shantytown residents to decide on the matter. Some shantytown residents are challenging the government's 2018 policy, which sought to get rid of shantytowns in the Bahamas. In other news, even with Bahamas Air finally experiencing a boost in bookings due largely to home porting, the company's chairman, Tommy Turnquist, says the turnaround the airline needs cannot fully be funded by government subventions. He told our news building the airline's fleet, for example, will require more than government is prepared to or should pay.
I think that the government ought not to be in the airline business. That's my personal opinion. And they've asked me to be the chairman of Bahamas Air, and I'll do the best that I can. The government is unable to put in the necessary capital to have a fleet of a size to make it viable. And there has to be a lot of institutional strengthening if that's not always possible as a government entity.
He said government has and continues to direct millions of dollars in support to the airline, but it's not enough.
Bahamas Air, come June 30th, for the period July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, would have received more than $60 million from the government. That's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. The government has allocated $30 million in this budget period, 20 odd of which is to facilitate the loan payments for the 5 ATRs that were purchased in 2016. And there's 8 to 10 million left just to assist with our operations.
Turnquest suggested the only way the airline can prove to be an asset for government is to move away from the current subvention model.
The subvention is really only to ensure that Bahamas Air continues to go to unprofitable domestic routes like the southeastern Bahamas and elsewhere within the Bahamas. So that's not serviced by other airlines, and so we would hope we get to the stage where Bahamas Air doesn't need the government subvention.
In other news, the number of residents now fully vaccinated against COVID-19 in this country has jumped to 32,945. New data from the Ministry of Health shows the majority of those persons, 23,713, live on New Providence, with 4,786 on Grand Bahama and 1,211 on Eleuthera. Those who have received only one dose, number 58,122, and total doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine administered in this country as of June 26 now number 91,067. Well, on their way to the Olympics in Tokyo next month, track stars Shawnee Miller-Weibo and Stephen Gardner made a pit stop at home over the weekend to participate in the B3A's national championships in Nassau. Giorgio Bain reports.
Olympic gold medalist Shawnee Miller-Weibo and 400-meter world champion Stephen Gardner happy with the results of day one of competition in the B3A's National Track and Field Championships, but even happier to be home.
It's so good. I haven't been home in a little while, and so, I've been eating a whole bunch, but, it's just always a pleasure to be back home, and, it's paradise, so a little bit of a vacation and getting ready for business as well.
Having ran all over the world, Shawnee says there's still nothing like competing in front of a home crowd. She won the open women's 400 meters with a time of 50.48, Gardner winning the open men's 400-meter race with a time of 44.52.
It's amazing to be back, competing in front of the home crowd at national championships. And to come here and be the national champion, 44.52, how do you feel about that? I feel pretty good. It's been a long season, a long year. We're getting to where we need to be for the Olympic Games, and I'm happy about it.
Okay, just give God thanks and praise for it. We just want to come out here. We want to get a few runs in, and we just kind of get the system turning back on. And so, it's always a pleasure to come out here and compete in front of the home crowd and compete with all the great athletes here from the Bahamas.
While Shawnee is making it look easy on the track, she's taking it easy as she recovers from a recent injury.
I'm just coming back from the injury. But like I said, we're just getting through as much as we could to get the system turned back on and be ready when the games come.
How do you feel about pulling the young girls through and having a chance to possibly qualify in the relays?
I think we have a really good shot, and so we're just going to go out there, and you have so much great girls that are running really well, and we're just going to go out there and see if we can qualify.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Stay with us, there's more news after the break.
Serenity Gated Community. Come and see what all the buzz is about surrounding our pre-construction home packages. Already, we have successfully made it possible for multiple families to realize their dream of home ownership. It's all about value building, folks. Home investment is by far the greatest investment one will ever make. So invest with confidence. Give Desiree Mingo a call at 376-0318 today.
When does a simple meal become exceptional? You guessed it, when it's made the Fresh Market way. We're talking exquisite cuts of fresh meat, succulent fresh seafood options, the best in fresh produce, and who can forget our exotic spices and herbs? Come on, get ready to shake up your taste buds and let our aisles inspire your inner food genius. Homemade salted caramel ice cream, egg noodle stir fry, time to walk and roll. Slow smoked beef ribs, oh baby! Remember, go fresh and craft delicious with Fresh Market.
How the exercise going? Not too good. What happened? Well, Mr. Junior make me one treadmill. Make? You know how he like tinker. Anyhow, he built this treadmill and he hook it up to one of them clothesline, which you could spin. You know the kind what I mean? You made a one what look like the upside down umbrella? That's the one. He figure that since I was working out, I just power up one of them clothesline, so he hook it up direct to the treadmill. Oh, so whilst you're walking, clothes spinning, Makes sense to me. Makes sense to you, eh? You know how heavy wet clothes is? But anyhow, I right there struggling to get the treadmill going. Slow. She start to go now. The treadmill going and the clothes spinning. This time now I building up speed. I running now. I running. The clothes spinning fast now. You're flying now. Yes, and so was the clothes. You would have thought he had enough sense to screw the thing down, eh? The clothes going? I see where they land yet. So what you gonna do? Go back to Superwash where I should have gone in the first beginning. Superwash. They washes your presses and cleans you 24/7.
Anyway, Lumpkin, does you know what a happy camper is? You ain't got to answer that. That's why you call it a historical question. Anyhow, a happy camper is anybody who come to bend the tire. I say, why are you talking in a third person? He look around, he's a third person, you see somebody else, hey. Anyhow, Lumpkin, when my customers see what I got on sale, they could be dancing in the showroom, but I got to stop them because I ain't got no club license. Anyway, most everything will be on sale, as usual. So, if you could please say that Pinder would be very happy to see them, and they would be very happy to see Pinder if they stop by. Pinder Tile Sale now through July 9th.
Don't wait for disaster to strike. This hurricane season, be ready. Protect your home with an affordable and comprehensive home insurance policy from Shield Insurance. You can't control what nature blows your way, but with Shield Insurance, you can rest easy as you ride out the storm. Protect your largest and most valuable investment. Don't take a chance. Put your home in our hands.
Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
Every day that ends in a Y is a great day to save at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Rainbow corned beef, 12-ounce can, $1.99. Super Value alkaline water, 5-gallon size, $4.99. Sweet tangerines, 3 for $1.59. Rainbow evaporated milk, large can, 4 for $3.49. Pork chop ends, $2.39 per pound. Working hard every day to keep your prices down. That's Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Calling all members. The 36th annual general meeting of the Bahamas Law Enforcement Cooperative Credit Union is scheduled for Saturday, July 3rd, 2021 at 8 a.m. at the Rose Garden, Police Headquarters, East Street, Nassau, Bahamas. Please note that all COVID-19 health and safety protocols will be strictly enforced, inclusive of the wearing of masks, sanitation, and social distancing at all times. See you there.
Welcome back. More than 20 students are now graduates of the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. At their drive-in commencement ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis congratulated them and assured them that the program at BTVI has prepared them for a life in the workplace.
This program has prepared you for the workforce. It has prepared you for new opportunities as our economy reopens. And as we are in need of skilled individuals in many fields, you have achieved the Blueprint Reading Level 1, which is known as the alphabet of trades.
BTVI President Dr. Robert Robertson says the school's aim is to provide the skilled workers needed in this country.
Our goal is to address the national skills gap. In fact, in 2019, a skills gap survey was completed by BTVI, the Ministry of Labor, and the Organization for Responsible Governance. That survey, unfortunately, stated that more than 60% of Bahamian employers identify a significant shortage of skilled employees. And yes, graduates, I'm looking at you to help fill that skill gap.
That's going to do it for local news. Stay with us. AP News is next.
Crystal Cruises is setting sail for the Bahamas once again. Crystal will follow the strictest safety protocols as guests travel to Exuma, San Salvador, Long Island, and more. With a commitment to keep communities and guests safe and protect the environment, Crystal's decision to homeport in the Bahamas will boost tourism and support the local economy. Learn more at crystalcruises.com.
Apex Award Signs and Engraving is excited about this summer's graduation. Celebrate your graduates with high-quality custom graduation signs available at great low prices. Need custom printing on apparel, promotional merchandise printing, or photo imaging services? No problem. You can get personalized diploma covers, plaques, plates, albums, clocks, pens, pencils, and so much more. Say congratulations to the class of 2021 with signs, hanging banners, and expressing appreciation on social media. Celebrate 2021 graduates with your own custom yard sign, banner, or poster from Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 128 Mount Royal Avenue, or on Woolton Street, a block north of McCarthy's Pharmacy. Open weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 9 to 1.
Everything is changing, and your favorite hardware and home improvement store is getting with the program. We Buy You Sell is rolling out its new online shopping feature. If you go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, it's a quick and easy 3-step process. Step 1, browse the gallery and select your item. Step 2, add to cart. And step 3, check out. Go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, to shop with us today.
Give me my pizza right away. Gotta move quick, no time to wait. No long lines inside the place. Little Caesars, I love the taste. Just come now, you don't have to call, now you don't have to wait. Hot and ready. Large pepperoni, $7.99 every day. Hot and ready. Oh, yeah. Straight out the oven and freshly made. Hot and ready. Little Caesars is hot and ready. Little Caesars is. Get yours now at Oaksfield, Carmichael Road, and now East Street South, Pineapple Plaza. Pizza.
At Master Technicians, we have what your family traditions need, starting with industry-best refrigerators, ranges, and ovens. We also carry Whirlpool washer and dryers, dishwashers and freezers, leading KitchenAid countertop appliances, blenders, microwaves, juicers, kettles, and KitchenAid stand mixers. We even do free delivery in New Providence or to the boat of your choice. Whether you're doing the laundry, creating new memories in the kitchen, or spending family time in front of the television, Master Technicians Limited, keeping family traditions alive for more than 50 years.
Brother made you jump off the boat onto Porter Ski and make a beeline to Sun Isles. Tell Miss Wallace them, I need a battery for this, a battery for that, and a battery for this. You got them? She say, man, you joking? I'll put a battery in you too. Major say, you mean you can still energize this old bunny? She say, man, we'll give you one good overall service, lubricate your 21 joules, then jumpstart your lithium battery, man, you'll be good as new. Major say, well, I didn't know you could do all of that. She say, well, of course I can, because that's the kind of me I am.
Sun Isles Watch and Clock, number 112 Montrose Avenue. Watch and clock sales and repairs for over 40 years.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
If you're a business owner, get ready because the digital transformation is here. As a business owner, you now face the choice between innovation and extinction, but you don't have to get left behind. Join the click with Cable Bahamas Business Solutions and transform your office to get the competitive advantage. With innovative solutions like our fixed and mobile services, hosted PBX, Bahamas Cloud, and more, you can redefine your business. For more information on how you can join the click, contact the experts at Business Solutions at cablebahamas.com.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Good morning. Taking a second look at traffic now and the commute so far.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:18, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's going on. We've got a mid to low level troughing associated with a low pressure system just north of the Bahamas, along with streaming tropical moisture. That's going to continue to enhance shower activity as the system moves westward. Meanwhile, a high pressure region will continue to maintain moderate to locally fresh winds through tonight. Some special warnings for you. There remains a risk of water spout activity. Beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should be exercising caution along eastern shorelines due to the risk of rip currents, and everybody's being advised to remain hydrated as heat indices are expected to climb into the triple digits again today. For all areas, your forecast today calling for variably cloudy, humid, and hot conditions. Breezy as well, with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms possible through tonight. Smallcraft caution remains in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperature-wise, highs getting up to 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but again, that heat index in the triple digits, about 100 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. That's how hot it's going to feel. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, streaming tropical moisture will keep rain chances elevated across the islands through Thursday. For tomorrow, Tuesday, variably cloudy, warm, and breezy with isolated showers and isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday, variably cloudy, warm, and breezy with isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms again. In the tropics, watching a couple of areas. There's an area east of Georgia, east about 300 miles southeast of Savannah, Georgia right now. It's an associated shower and thunderstorm activity remains disorganized. Most of it displaced to the northwest of the surface center due to strong upper-level winds. The low is forecast to move quickly west-northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour, crossing over the warmer waters of the Gulf Stream later this morning. It does have some potential to become a tropical depression or tropical storm before reaching the coast of Georgia or southern South Carolina by this evening. The system has a medium chance, about 60% chance of development through the next 5 days. The other area is a broad area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave, producing a small cluster of showers and thunderstorms over the eastern tropical Atlantic. The system has a 20% chance of development through the next 5 days. None of these systems, though, pose any threat to the Bahamas at this time. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And at 8:21, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. We've got some Mile Butler Highway, as usual, your hotspot this morning. Heavy traffic from north of Fire Trail in the northbound lanes all the way up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. Glaston Road also looking busy now, north of Fire Trail, the northbound lanes to JFK Drive. Traffic is building on Blue Hill Road. It's getting busy there. North of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes to Independence Drive, and building traffic on Carmichael eastbound to Blue Hill Road this morning. Also seeing the traffic building westbound on Carmichael toward Coral Harbor Road. Further east, we've got that intersection, Village Road, Bernard Road, Soldier Road, and Wolf Road, seeing some building traffic there. And Robinson Road still busy for you between Soldier and Old Trail Road this morning. Elsewhere, just at the major intersections, you'll be seeing some building traffic. That's what we're looking at this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
Let's face it, in an increasingly competitive market, your business needs a competitive edge. That means offering your employees the benefits they want. Give them the benefit of retiring their way with the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. Choose from some of the best performing investment funds in the market while taking advantage of low administrative costs and professional management. Whether you're a team of 2 or 2,000, our pension specialists can design a plan for you. Contact us at pensions@rfgroup.com to learn more about the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. RF, money at work.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Postpaid with the Live just got better. Say hello to more with our new Liberty Prime plan. 800 text and talk minutes and 15 gigabytes of data to do the things you love right here at home and even when you travel. With the all-new Liberty Prime, Liberty More, Liberty Premium, and Liberty Elite, you're good at home and good to roam. Roam again. Alive. Believe in best. Believe in best.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Have you been? Hello, 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 Bahamas. Oh, 700 islands in the sun. It's been a long time since I was there. I miss your peaceful atmosphere. Hoping to see you shortly again. Soon as the road of lockdown ends. Well, hello, 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 Bahamas.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Pamela Musgrove on this Monday morning. We're having a great discussion this morning. You can join the conversation. We are having some issues with our telephone lines again. But you can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796, and we have a whole lot of text messages this morning. So our conversations have led us to addressing many of the issues in the country that we have been complaining about, many people, for decades, and nothing's being done. Our wonderful lawmakers who go in there and spend a lot of time complaining and crying and laughing and joking and banging tables, not addressing these issues for some reason. What's that all about? Anyway, this person here saying, aren't you guys aware that we have Bahamians squatting on land in Mayaguana and probably other islands in the south, which is Crown land, after those people would build, then they apply to lands and surveys for papers. Both governing parties do not pay attention to Mayaguana. I'm sure it's happening all over. Happening here in New Providence.
And it has been happening.
It's been happening.
Yeah, I think a lot of persons, when they migrated to New Providence, and a lot of these families, they squat on land and they built. And then once you go on Crown land, nobody bother you. The government build around you.
Obviously, this isn't changing for a reason, right? This is benefiting a lot of people. All these things that we see and that we complain about, nothing's being done for a reason, right? The bus system, Pat and I were talking about this off here. The bus system, the taxi system, the high gas prices, the every single thing. There is no will to fix these problems. People say things around election time.
Yeah, people are benefiting from it right now. And then if you change it, it will remove their benefit. But I think sometimes you have to pay in order for progress, right? I go back
now, who's the you? Who has to pay?
No, government.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you take, for instance, the airport. The airport had one concession, I think one company or very few companies for years that had the right for concession.
Mm-hmm.
When they transfer over that airport to NAD, right? They had to fix some stuff. And in order to get out of that, they had to pay them out because there was a contract. So there's some things that you have to pay. If you have a system, then that's why I mentioned about people on land. If you allow that to happen and people got comfortable with that, now you want to change it, then you're going to have to do some things and maybe require you for the taxi plates, for the busing system, to pay persons out, get the auditors to determine what's the fair value, pay them out of their contract, and start anew with a new system.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to require.
Yeah, well, don't hold your breath on that one. This person says squatters' rights don't apply to Crown land, according to my attorney. Well, I don't. That's good. Don't trust your attorney either.
Yeah.
Right? They'll tell you all kinds of. Anyway.
Now it may not, because you can't do it for too long without being detected. But
I'm sure it depends on the island. I'm sure it does. But anyway, we'll find out. We'll do a show on this again. But according to your attorney, wow. These individuals built their homes in defiance of the law. They knew that they were not supposed to be there. I think you're missing this important point. Who's the we? We are missing the point.
Okay. We have gambling in this country, right? The web shops, right? How did they operate, Dwight?
Before?
Yeah, how did they operate before?
They did whatever they wanted.
In defiance of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to pay some monies for back taxes. And now the same persons who were operating in defiance of the law is now operating legally.
And protected.
So
Nobody else can enter their sector.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Okay.
Anyway, what is so hard about the government presenting the court with video footage or photos, etc., and testimonials from officials to make their case viable and clear? Why try to disrespect the courts publicly? Yes, be careful about who you put in the house. Yes. And that's what the court is saying, right? And that's what many others are saying. What's the big deal? Show the evidence then, right? There aren't exorbitant numbers, extraordinary numbers.
Show the evidence.
It's a few houses. You can do this, right? And it's a temporary thing. This isn't indefinitely. This is temporary while we're waiting on the judgment. Although the court,
this is temporary since 2018.
Well, although
in investment, short term is a year less.
Yikes! But yeah, the government is making a case that the ruling will not determine the way forward, so it's just dealing with that current situation. Those people in that situation,
I think they're going to lose.
Oh boy!
Again,
I
think that's just my humble opinion.
Oh boy! This one here says, doesn't this case make the point as to why the government should not have to go to court for every demolition? Government will be crippled if the exercise of every statutory function takes 5 years, and it's a temporary injunction. Supposed to be. Although Pat made a good point about how long this has been dragging on, but it's supposed to be. This is just for a moment. We have been told, right? Someone says, what just happened there? How low can you go? I guess low. Please, Prime Minister, change the Attorney General. He's wasting our money. It does not make any sense. Okay. Pam, you said a lot that I wish the politicians could hear. All right. This one here says, didn't the government in this recent budget provide the same incentives to Bahamian businesses that were provided to foreign investors for decades? Finally providing that balance that we've been calling for decades. I'm sure not all.
Well, see, I like things to be itemized to me. You know, I was listening to the canoe saga, right? About how this company got the contract during the COVID. Now, first of all, if there were, I think I'm okay with, you were in the midst of something and you had to do or make a rush decision. I thought it should have been disclosed. It should have been laid in the House of Assembly, particularly how it's indicated that you had political persons involved in this. I think it should have been disclosed. And then I saw where the Ministry of Tourism said they got $9.8 million from the health visa, and then $7.4 million was in expenses, right? What are those expenses? See, this is what the Public Accounts Committee should be doing. But again, like I said, the opposition is in charge of the Public Accounts Committee. And so it happened in the last administration where the opposition wasn't supported when they wanted documents, and it's happening now. Yeah. So what people tend to do is, I'm not going after this information like that, because when I get there, when you come after me, I'm not going to cooperate with you. So what is supposed to happen is, how was this $7.4 million allocated? What are the itemized expenses, right? So you talk about concessions, itemize them. And then I could compare them to what is itemized here in the Hotel Encouragement Act.
Yep. All right, take a listen to this text. This one says, illegal shanty townhomes are being constructed in Apico as I type this message. Kai Mills released a series of photos this weekend about said construction. The evidence is there. The government has the will, but the question remains, do the technical staff have the will? Let's not pretend that we don't know how government workers are, especially when they're permanent and pensionable. And I don't think you have that right. I mean, with the technical staff, if the government has the will, then you get rid of the technical staff that's not doing their job.
You know what they do in real Westminster, not this version that we operate? When something goes wrong with a ministry, they get rid of the cabinet minister. Because it's his responsibility to oversee the ministry. If you have people in that ministry that are not functioning, then you have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's easy. That's the easiest thing. If the will is there and the people aren't doing their job, get rid of those people. Don't make excuses for that. And you know fully well there's no will for anything. That's the problem. But if the will is there and the technical people aren't doing their job, that's the easiest thing. The easiest thing to solve. So let's not try it. That's jokey. But anyway, okay. This one here. Good morning. I'm going to tell you a true story. Uh-oh. Some time ago, I had a friend, Black, who moved to a well-known area in the East. After moving, he went to the house next door to introduce himself to the neighbor, also Black. You know what was said to my friend? I moved here to get away from you people. I don't want to get up in the morning and smell boiled fish. True story. This is how we treat each other when we think we've arrived.
He said, is it a friend?
No, his friend was the one who moved, and when he went to introduce himself to the friend.
Do people do that? Door, do Black people do that?
So introduce themselves to the friend next door?
The next door.
Well, you should do that. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, we should do that. But do people do that? I
think people do that.
Give a pot of casserole or something, take it to the neighbors, welcome them to the neighborhood?
I don't think they do that.
Yeah?
I don't know if they do that.
Okay.
But you're supposed to introduce yourself. But that's what happened there. Well, maybe that person was just crazy. I think that person was just a nutcase.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how most people act. What's wrong with boiled fish?
No,
smell,
nothing.
Right?
Nothing.
It smells
nothing.
But that's just, I don't think that's a common thing. I really don't. I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, that's just one incident. But I didn't know. I didn't know that people introduce themselves.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, I know.
Keep that up. Do
it
that.
will be.
You need to know your neighbors. You do.
Yeah.
But that's wow. Thank you for that story. That's just the crazy dude in the neighborhood. Most people will be very happy to know that. I'm sure.
Well, I hope the other neighbor on the other side.
Right. The other one on the other side was nicer.
Was probably, yeah.
Okay. What, thank you for the story, but what's the point of the story? This is for what? This is why you got to squat wherever you can?
You read it, right?
I don't know. But thank you. Well, sometimes you need a story.
Yeah.
Okay. This text here. When was the last time the governing party voted against party lines to lock down a proposed bill? You would be committing political suicide. Our system doesn't foster maturity and disagreement. Okay, so this goes back to what we were talking about
maturity.
earlier.
I agree.
That would happen if your job didn't depend on it, right? If your livelihood, this is what you talked about, right? Why there's so many young, inexperienced people running for office this time around. Yeah. They are not independently wealthy, or they don't have themselves established in their careers in many ways, in many instances. But that's what happens, right? And so what they've done in the last few administrations is pile up everybody who gets voted in into some position
to give them some payment.
Payment is right.
Yeah,
you owe me now, and you got to vote along party lines, right? And once you get fired, we see what happens. We saw with Andre Rollins, we saw with McAlpine. All of a sudden, you start speaking and you start calling out the nonsense more forcefully than the opposition does. This is what you're saying, Pam, about this bastardized Westminster system that we're doing here, where everybody's blackmailed into voting along the party lines, as opposed to what we see in the UK, where the backbenchers are some of the most vocal people.
Powerful. The 1922 Committee of the Conservative Party is a powerful party.
They are holding the Prime Minister by the neck.
By it.
And you got to do what we want.
They give him enough leeway to do what you do.
Yes.
But when you cross that line...
Then you got cabinet ministers resigning over hugs.
Yes.
Because we're not tolerating foolishness. We're not tolerating foolishness. But here, everybody's got to do what they are told. And then when we're done with you come to the house and cry. You cry because you were treated so badly. Huh? Oh, okay.
And see, what happens is when you get a group of men and women that just follow the leader blindly, and you just submit and follow the leader blindly, because, see, all of these parties are supposed to have a venue where they can discuss things. Their caucus meeting is where you can disagree, and then the majority would trump, or, you have your opportunity to express yourself. But because they don't really do those things, and what the leader says goes, the people get upset with the leader, and they get mad at elections, and in order to get rid of that leader, they feel like they have to get rid of everybody in that party because they did not stand up to that leader.
Exactly. And this is what we were talking about off here as well, that instead, in the UK, when they notice that we're going to lose this election, they immediately say, we have to be done with this leader. We're going to put somebody else who's more likable, and hopefully that will help us in the election.
But see, because in the UK, there's the parliamentary party, and then there's the political party. So, for instance, with the Conservative Party, when they're deciding on a leader, the parliamentary party decides on that leader. If that leader is out of favor, and you've seen the UK in the last several years change the Conservative Party.
10 in 3 years.
The Conservative Party has been in power more than the Labour because they deal with their leadership. And they would have a round of voting in the parliamentary party, and then they go to the political party with the final two. That they have as their leadership. But the problem is the political party is all entangled with the parliamentary party. So these persons who were elected by the people, they knocked on the doors of the people, and the people put them in there, have no power because the political party has all the power in our system of governance.
And I bet you they don't have much, in many cases, where the people are resigning from the party, right? So you don't have, I'm not getting along with the leader, the prime minister, so I'm going to resign from the Conservatives. That isn't happening, no?
You had some of that happening just before Brexit because they didn't like what was going on. So you had a few of that happening, but for the most part,
disagreements with the leader don't mean that you are no longer a member of that party. And so that's going to be important when it is time to get rid of that leader, so that we can vote and decide on who's going to be the one to lead us into this election successfully.
Yeah, because if you take, for instance, in the last few years, you had David Cameron. David Cameron had George Osborne as his financial secretary. You had Theresa May. And she had Philip Hammond as her financial secretary. So all of these people are a part of the party, and they're aligned. So let's take, for instance, Dr. Hubert Minnis and Dr. Dwayne Sands. They're all a part of the party. But if you were to have a Dr. Sands who was a leader, he would get the people who are loyal to him. Dr. Minnis would get the people that are loyal to him. So you don't have that type of civil war in the party because you all a part of the party. But I think what we do in the country is we have this civil war that if you are not aligned with the leader of the day, the king, quote unquote king, you get cut
get
down.
out of the party. You gotta go.
And it damages the party.
Yes.
Because you don't have strong people in the party that can deliver for the country.
And it proves to us the lies that you tell us about how you have such a wide tent. Please.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Right? If you did, then you would have no issue with someone not agreeing with what's being said at the moment.
Yeah. It will just challenge you to prove, like the judge is asking you. If you learn to prove in Parliament why you do what you did, it have been easy to prove to the judge why you need to evict the people.
Well, then you know they're going to lose then. They definitely can. Oh boy! All right. So what's happening? Our phone lines are So how many do we have? Just that one there, or okay. So our phone lines are back up 325-4259, and just that one. Okay. All right. Let's take that call if they're there. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning to you, Dwight. Good morning, Pam, Ciala, and Johnson.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
You know, it's let me just ask you a question that I was asked as a youth from two parents. First, for you, Dwight, if I was to take an incompetent person and put them in a suit, what would you have?
An incompetent person in a suit.
Okay, and Pam, if I was to take an incompetent person and give them a title, what would you have?
An incompetent person in a suit with a title?
And so what happens is that it doesn't matter if you take, and so this is a question my parents actually want, what do you call it? And then they asked me, and I was afraid collectively they asked me, so what do you call a person, an incompetent person you give a title and a suit to? And you have a dress up.
Parliamentarian?
Right. No, see, that's what I'm saying to you. Back then, the answer was an incompetent person that's dressed up in a suit, right? If they asked me today, I'd be able to say an MP. But the point is that we know what we're getting, We know we've been doing nothing but buying brands. We never got leaders, okay? And so we see, and we keep doing it year after year, and I guess it's a form of conditioning and tribalism that we have gotten to the point that we have become so comfortable with not moving, we no longer recognize our chains. And so the problem is that most of the issues that face us are very simple issues to solve. And this is why we have a stagnant development system, and this is why we celebrate mediocrity. And in fact, we are an anti-intellectual society. All you have to do is exceed or excel. We celebrate criminality. We separate, you can go in neighborhoods and see where, like you say, we have illegal immigration, my immigrants. You have drug dealers, our drug dealers. We have people who violate the law. We celebrate them as being successful, and if you criticize them, it's because you are jealous or hating or whatever of them. And so what we don't recognize is that the global society itself is judging us by that merit. This is why when we have investors come in here, we have a parasitic type of investor who comes in here and tell you what's good for you. If you, and I hate to say like this, right, but if you go to a depressed neighborhood, how many high-end stores are you seeing in a depressed neighborhood? None. But so if you have a depressed country, a ghettoized country, where would you get high-end investors come from? They don't. You get the people who are attracted to that type of environment that extract the wealth. And so we just mimicking ourselves as in any type of depressed environment. And so, but we know that these things we elect, we know we elect brands. Go to the 39 party individuals or whatever nominated in each party, and take the brand of them. The brand of PLP, FNM, DNA, whatever other brand, and then ask them, what do you plan to do? And there's no cognizant reality of what they say they're going to do. They have no idea the responsibility of a member of parliament, which is simply three things: laws or legislations, we call it, policies and programs, not cleaning up the road and doing these things. So the problem we have is that we are our problem. You say this immigration problem. Let's run on. Immigration problem, you could pass one digital law, digitizing ID and making it illegal for hiring anything, and everyone who would be hired would be solved. You want to solve the corruption, transfer all of the assets into a sovereign wealth fund that's out of the reach of members of parliament, so they'll just simply go for their salaries rather than graft. These are very simple laws to pass, but the problem is that if you send a thief or a liar or whatever to parliament, it doesn't change them. So the problem is not them, the problem is the people that sends them. And so it's us, not them.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, it is us. It is
now,
us.
see, that's the one time I'll accept your us. See, when you talk about crime and you say all of us, I don't accept it. I don't accept that.
Oh, okay. But this one.
But yeah,
it's
that's
the same
one
thing,
time.
though.
No, it's not the same thing.
Because you're turning your blind eye. You know this. You know your cousin is no good. You know this is a.
No, I say us and how we vote.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so
It's
what we
always
do,
us.
like I said, we get to the point where we are so upset and we have to get rid of the entire organization, the party, because of that leader. Right? Because of the leader. But we don't have enough people in these political organizations that are lobbying for change.
Yeah. Okay, we got to take a break, but let me read these messages before we go. Someone says here, please read and respond. Okay. I think what you guys are missing is that the judge tied the government's hands in executing their mandated duties to remove any illegal building. Hence, that's why she quickly ruled that it's not for the whole of the Bahamas. This is because she knew that she does not have jurisdiction to hinder the good governance of a country. I don't think we're missing that at all.
Nope.
She's talking just about Abaco.
Well, then, if that's the case, then why the government just don't go across the country and break down homes that are not fit? Just go across the country.
And they could start with downtown Nassau.
Yeah. That's a good place to start.
Great place to start.
That's the best
Let's
place
clean
to
up that trash.
Just go down there and those buildings that are run down.
Yeah.
Just break them down.
Just do it.
Just do it.
We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Are you ready for effortless hurricane protection? Then you need to get to know LA Impact Windows and Doors. Forget the plywood and get the lowest and affordable prices on hurricane windows and doors for all your residential and commercial projects. You can feel safe and secure with LA Impact Windows and Doors. Located in the Southland Shopping Center, East Street South. LA Impact Windows and Doors, impacting your views. Call 322-3667 or 829-7822.
Crystal Cruises is setting sail for the Bahamas once again. Crystal will follow the strictest safety protocols as guests travel to Exuma, San Salvador, Long Island, and more. With a commitment to keep communities and guests safe and protect the environment, Crystal's decision to homeport in the Bahamas will boost tourism and support the local economy. Learn more at crystalcruises.com.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Jump canoe, come down and dance the jump canoe. Come down and join the jump canoe. Come down and dance the jump canoe. Come down and join the jump canoe. Come down and dance the jump canoe. Come down and join the jump canoe. Better in the Bahamas. Oh yeah. Better in the Bahamas. Better in the Bahamas. Better in the Bahamas. Oh yeah. Better in the Bahamas. Come on down, take a look and see the beauty of our little country.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Pamela Musgrove. Coming up in a few minutes in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking about insurance in the Bahamas, the state of the industry. We're going to be talking with the Insurance Commission. They also have a special webinar this week. That's coming up. Right now, we continue with your messages. Somebody says here, why is the Shantytown ruling taking so long? This is starting to make me think that something strange is going on. Are they waiting for the town to be rebuilt? If it's that, they're just going through the process and making sure that, right, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, right? Hopefully that's what it is. When they don't give accounts of the funds, we can speculate it went into a political slush fund. I don't know what we're talking about there. You remember what that was? What that was about?
I think the Public Accounts Committee and accounting for how
That's what
monies
you
were
mentioned
spent.
for- Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
This one says here, if my neighbor is having boiled fish, I am going over for some. Well, nope, that's after you've introduced yourself, because you can't just go if you've not introduced yourself, it's going to be a problem. This one here, politics in the Bahamas is like a popularity contest. Most incoming members of parliament brag about what they will do, but when they are elected, their mouths are muzzled. Promises. Well, it is definitely a popularity contest. Definitely is. Pam, can I vote for you for Prime Minister? Not directly. She'll have to start a party and get a bunch of people around her.
Nope. I love this rule. I love this rule.
This person says here, I hope in the future the person in the East who doesn't like the scent of boiled fish does not have a negative situation occurring that the neighbor who tried to welcome them will have and will need to assist them. They would then see the meaning, do unto others that you will have done unto you. I guarantee you that has already happened. I bet you if the texter came back and told us some stories, that neighbor needed their help. That always happens.
Just even to be alert.
Right.
You know, you see something strange happening across the road. You know, you call your neighbor. Did you?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take this call really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on Morning Blend.
Mr. Strachan, how are you doing? Are you talking to the show?
No, Dave. No. We need a little break. This one here says, please compare $28,000 a year with the average income of Bahamians.
Well, if you start from minimum wage, which is $210 per week and multiply by 52 weeks in a year, that's the starting point.
Yeah. Explain what your point is, though, Texter, right? So what are you saying?
Is he
right?
saying
So
that
this
that's
is-
a lot more than
yeah.
what the average person making, or
that-
that's a lot smaller than what the average person?
And this will show you the
making?
desperation. Maybe you don't see it, but this is a problem. The system we
But
have.
I
here.
don't have a problem with increasing parliamentarians' salaries. I will not support it if they don't function as they should. There are a lot of committees that should be operational, and in a developing democracy, and when you're trying to get that transparency, anytime something happens, you go before the committee to publicly to assess it, and then from that, policies are formed on how we can prevent this from happening. And if they're not operating like that, and then these parties can pick any old person that they want to put to run before us, I don't support that.
Yeah.
It'd have to be some drastic change in Parliament for me personally to support an increase in salary for parliamentarians.
All right. Yep. Can we do this? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
A godly day that is dark in the voice along with you on Palm, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's the same. Dwight, I want to respond to that text what talked about hitting the quieting title arc. The thing is, the Privy Council in 2010 responded respond to that situation as stealing. But what happened is the government or some of the lawyers are not dealing with it, and those lawyers got to behave themselves, those dirty, nasty lawyers, because the law is there. That is stealing. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. We said it, right? They were advised that the law needs to be adjusted. It has to be changed. And
all the way from the Privy Council?
These folks have not done anything yet. These honorable gentlemen and ladies have done nothing yet to address this matter. Why is that? What's the reason? All manner of ridiculous laws have passed since then. All type of talk and jokes and pounding tables. But this thing? Nah.
Nothing.
What's the reason? Many other things have been recommended as well.
Yeah.
Have they done anything about those things?
Nothing.
The things that will really impact our lives and change things? Why not? A bunch of other stuff for people from elsewhere to benefit from. Yeah. Change things for them quick.
Fast track them.
Oh, my goodness.
Fast track them.
Your head will spin. But these things that are ruining people's lives, people expecting that this property that granddaddy saved for them, I'll finally get to build on it and do something. Oh, it's gone. Somebody's house is on that fenced up.
Yeah.
Big lawyer waving at you, come from around here, boy. It's been many years since you all had a claim to this place. And then that's it for you. You're done.
The will is not there.
It is absolutely not.
The will is not there to deal with it.
No.
You just like to wallow in the dirt, I call it, with this handout. You see government involved in everything, every little thing, providing jobs, building houses. You can't continue to do that over the long term because you don't have the money. You're not getting the revenue because you're not taxing the people who could pay the revenue. You are giving rich concessions to them, and they are not paying, I believe, their fair share in taxes. So you cannot do that. And that's how you hold us hostage without giving us the tools to thrive. And then when private Bahamians or private citizens and private businesses thrive, the government thrives because you get more money in the treasury. But we're being held back by these policies that you go out of your way to make it easier for one class because you think that class is much more important than the other class of Bahamians. And these persons that you go to your way for, they are making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you know what happened, Dwight? When they cease to make millions of dollars, what do? They pack up and they leave.
Oh, yes. Very easy for them to do.
But then you have your feet on Bahamians' businesses and Bahamians' neck that they cannot thrive in this environment.
Yeah.
So all I say, they say in employment, you don't take away benefits. So all I'm asking you, when I go to this Hotel Encouragement Act, I am saying I want the same type of concessions given to other businesses in other industry. And if you feel that you cannot do that because you lose revenue, then you need to reduce some of the concessions that you're giving to those set to help build this country.
Demand more, folks. Demand better from these people kind of coming around, smiling at you and knocking on your doors. Right? Hold them accountable. Think about that. We're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business. Again, we're talking about insurance. It's always a hot topic. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is the Guardian News Network update on the hour. Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Ferguson. We're following breaking news for you at this hour. Police are at 2 crime scenes this morning, including a murder at Pine Barren Road. We're told a man was found dead there just before 8 a.m. with apparent stab wounds to his body. Officers are also investigating the death of a man who was found submerged under a pier in the vicinity of Victoria Avenue. We have teams following both of those incidents for you, and we will have more information as it becomes available. In other news, government has taken action to have overturned a decision by Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson which stops further demolitions in shantytowns on Abaco without the court's approval. In court documents, government contends that the judge overstepped the court's proper constitutional bounds and usurped the authority of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, which has the power to remove or destroy structures in areas deemed disaster zones. Justice Grant Thompson has adjourned the judicial review of the rights of shantytown residents to decide the matter. Some shantytown residents are challenging the government's 2018 policy, which sought to get rid of shantytowns in the Bahamas. And the number of people now fully vaccinated against COVID-19 in this country numbers 32,945. New data from the Ministry of Health shows the majority of those persons, 23,713, live on New Providence. Those who have received at least one dose number 58,122, and total doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine administered in country as of June 26 now number 91,067. That's what's making headlines at this hour. Stay with us. AP Update is next.
Hello, sir. Your credit card bill is due. Hello, sir. It's time for your monthly loan payment. Tired of creditors pounding at your door? Sign up for a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank and consolidate your debt into one low monthly payment. What's more, you will also earn interest on a built-in savings account. The pandemic has curbed many freedoms, but at Fidelity, our focus is to help regain your financial freedom. Visit a branch or speak to Fidelity Bank at 356-7764. COVID safety measures in place at all branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Want to look at traffic now, and there's been a great effort in the streets to get in for 9 this morning. However, unfortunately, still got lots of traffic that's left in the streets at this hour. That ride along West Bay Street that was only active just an hour ago is now really busy and slowed down all the way into the city, in and around the point and into downtown. Inner city streets are getting more active as well, but I can still see the morning commute traffic that's hanging out there. Really challenged like on streets as Prince Charles Drive, getting through the Marathon intersection there. Soldier Road and Bernard Road, getting through into the Village and Wolf Road intersection. Eastern Road has done well, though. No lengthy traffic buildup getting out of there. But it's unfortunate. We know it's our southwest gateways. Those streets over there where traffic is still hung up. Still slow getting out of Gladstone Road, Samalabala Highway, and Kamika Road. Those folks, they're coming in late today. Police this weekend investigated some 6 traffic accidents across the island, reportedly with damages. Three of them reportedly with damages only, but there were 2 hit and runs, and there was an accident in Pinewood Gardens on Willow Tree and Cottonwood Road that resulted in injury. So far this morning, they have already been called out to 2 road accidents, fortunately limited to only damages, no injuries. However, also this morning, police are at ongoing investigations for incidents that are happening off Victoria Avenue, off Bay Street, and possibly criminal investigation off Prince Charles Drive in the Pine Barrett area. So be on the lookout in the streets for them and emergency vehicles as these events unfold. This National Traffic Report this hour being brought to you by J.S. Johnson. They're the only insurance agents and brokers giving you peace of mind in the Bahamas for over 100 years. Call them at 397-2100. That's 397-2100 for more info. With your Riders Guy, look at traffic in real time. I'm VA.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too? Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. No one has been found alive in the rubble of that Miami area condo building since the first hours after it collapsed. But rescue workers aren't giving up hope of finding more people alive. 9 are known dead, 152 missing. Mike Noriega was among the family members who gathered at the site of the collapsed building over the weekend, hoping to hear news of his grandmother. Here's our Shelley Adler.
His 92-year-old grandmother, Hilda, lived on the 6th floor.
It was so hard to process because it was like something that's
you're supposed to see in a movie, but you're never supposed to see in reality.
Amazingly, he found a birthday card that was sent to his grandmother flying in the debris.
I mean, what are the chances that that would happen? I just feel like it's really God's way of comforting us to say, either way, whatever happened with your grandmother, she's okay.
I'm Shelley Antler.
And I'm Rita Foley.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, June 28th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, joined by Pamela Musgrove. And today we are talking insurance. We are talking the insurance industry in the Bahamas. We're also getting a preview of a special webinar this week. And we're very pleased to have with us from the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas, Tamika Dean, the manager of intermediaries and market conduct, and also Darren Rogers, senior analyst in the supervision unit. Welcome to the show. Great to have you with us this morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having us.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to talk about the webinar series in just a bit, but let's discuss for a bit what the theme is for the webinar series, understanding the Bahamian industry in the Bahamas, and let's see if we can do just that. What are some of the misconceptions and what does need to be understood about the insurance industry in the Bahamas? What do you feel people need to appreciate?
Sure. And so let's start off with who's the Insurance Commission. And so the Insurance Commission is the Bahamas' insurance regulator responsible for all insurance activity that happens in and from within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And so what we try to do is explain to persons that we are similar to the insurance, we are similar to the central bank in that what the central bank does for banks, we do for insurance companies. And so that's the easiest way to say exactly who we are and what we do.
Okay.
And so when we talk about insurance, there are so much misconceptions. You know, persons always say that obviously insurance is something that is better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Right.
But unfortunately, there is a lack of education in the industry, and persons aren't aware of one, what they're purchasing. They're probably not disclosing. They probably feel as though they're misadvised, so on and so forth. And so the Insurance Commission, a part of our role is consumer awareness and consumer education. And we've rolled out our consumer awareness program since 2015. And we've tried to advise the general public as well as policyholders on certain aspects of insurance, what they need to know, which will help them to feel a little bit more comfortable when purchasing insurance.
All right, so that's a lot to talk about there. In general, where do you see people have the most confusion, though, when it comes to, or most issues, when it comes to auto, life, health, which aspect of insurance, homeowners, what do you see as presenting the most challenges?
Sure.
Well,
go ahead.
The first thing I would say is we would like for policyholders to be more familiar with the entire operation of it. And we'll start with your insurer or your insurance company versus your intermediary. And so Bahamas is a jurisdiction where there's no provision to allow direct sale of insurance from the insurer. And so we have an intermediaries market here in the Bahamas. And so the first thing is to understand that your the insurance company is the entity that holds the risk or carries the risk for the item or person that you wish to insure. Your intermediary is the institution or the organization that facilitates the placement or is responsible for the sale of that product.
Why was that so? Like, can you give us some history on why that was determined to be so and why it is still relevant today?
And so when you look at the makeup of the insurance industry, the makeup of the insurance industry go back some a very, very long time ago. And it started off where most of our insurers weren't Bahamian insurers, and they were foreign insurers. And so we have always known our industry to be an intermediary market where it was a market where locals obviously had known the intermediaries and not the insurers. And so when we would have changed the law, where we now have domestic insurers, it changed the dynamics of how things ran. And so that is the historic way of how it went ever since.
So it's basically to provide a business avenue for locals. Because the insurance companies were mainly international, that intermediate there was to create businesses for local persons to participate in that market.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. So how do you recognize which one is which? I know how, because a lot of people don't know.
That is no problem at all. And so on the general side in particular, a person would walk into a certain entity, obviously where we aren't going to call any names. And so a person would walk into a certain entity and they feel as though that is their insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't realize that that is not their insurance company until most times they are filing a claim. And so these are the type of things we will go into recognize, and we're going to discuss tomorrow, that who you think is your insurance company may be a broker or your agent. They're not necessarily your insurance company, obviously, because direct selling under the legislation is prohibited. And so these are the type of things, like we say, getting to know your Bahamian insurance industry, we really want to clear up and want the general public to understand.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds good to know that, but are there real benefits to knowing? Is it going to save you something? Is it going to be beneficial to know?
It's education, right? I think that persons more than ever should know how does the industry work. When it comes time to make a claim, obviously the person who you would have paid your premiums to, that's the person who you want to pay you back, right, and settle your claim for you. And so if you don't understand how the industry works, it's very difficult for you to say, okay, I went into XYZ, I paid my funds, now I want to perhaps even file a complaint. What happens in a case like that, right? And so if you don't understand how historically it works, or even how it works today, it's very difficult to get the maximum benefit to be a policyholder and really understand what's happening with your insurance.
So direct selling is prohibited for general insurance, but direct selling occurs for life insurance.
And I would like to say, on the surface of it, yes. And so when you go into a life insurance company, obviously you will speak with salespersons, right? And again, knowing the makeup of the insurance industry, when you go to a salesperson or a salesperson come to you and they purchase insurance, that salesperson is registered at the insurance commission as an intermediary as well. And so granted, you're going direct in insurance, a life insurance, a person insurance, that person who sold that to you is in fact an intermediary. And again, all of that is just so amazing to understand the makeup of how this all works.
Okay. So can a general insurer set up a company, a brokerage company, where they own it and that they can use that to sell their own products and maybe other company products?
Yes, and so we do have some general insurers who have, they do have brokers, they do have agents who I guess own, obviously the insurer would own the majority of that particular agent. There are probably 3 of those we currently have on our books. But yes, normally what happens is the agents and brokers, they get sponsored, and the sponsors are the insurance companies, and they sell and they get commissions from these insurance companies.
Right. Do you have any numbers? What are we looking at in terms of the intermediaries and the general? Mm-hmm. Yep. What do we have?
Looking at the market, we have about 60 corporate intermediaries currently registered with the insurance commission.
60.
60,
Yep.
yes.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot. Uh-huh.
We have 60 intermediaries corporate registered currently with the Insurance Commission. And on the insurance side, life in general, we have about 40, and that's life in general together, about 40. Yeah.
How is it? How do we compare to like in the region and around the world? Because I'm just asking a question. Do you think that having these intermediaries, when you could set up an intermediary yourself as a company, does that increase the cost of the product?
It doesn't necessarily increase the cost of the product, right? Obviously, these insurance premiums are made up through, obviously, there are so much things that impact premiums, anywhere from on the life side, actuaries, on the general side, reinsurers, and so on and so forth. And so when you look at the makeup in our region, I can tell you the Bahamas obviously is a very unique industry in that I think we're the only industry that has intermediaries, and we're the only reason who does not conduct direct selling. And so when you look at the premiums and the makeup of the premiums, there's a commission impact that's in there, but I don't think that it necessarily holds a big impact on what the final premium is.
That's interesting. You said we're the only one in the region doing that?
Yeah, we have done our research and we find that we are. I think we're still the only one who still today does not do direct selling.
I think that's an important word you still. Still. It was happening a long time ago. We just kept it. It's still.
Huh. So, I mean, okay, I don't know if you can answer these. Any of you can answer these, but so now that makes me feel, this goes back to what Pam asked earlier, feel a certain type of way about it. Why are we still doing that?
Well, that is something, like you say, we may or may not be able to answer that particular question. However, like I said, obviously that is something that we intend to look at some point in the future. Again, sometimes you want to say if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But obviously these things take research. These things, we have to look at all the things that encompass it, right? What we also have to protect our local Bahamian market. Obviously, we have to see the persons who are employed. How does that affect, obviously, employment? How does that affect the insurers? There's so many things. I think that persons want things fixed or changed in an instant, but obviously benchmarking have to be done, research have to be done, and then obviously industry consultation have to be done as well before we make any changes.
Okay.
So what is the penetration for the local? Because I know you said people have to be employed, but I think a lot of people, and this is my anecdotally, you can give me the numbers to prove me right or wrong. A lot of people don't take out insurance because one of the complaints is it's too expensive. It's too costly. And I know part of that is our region and because we are exposed to external shocks like hurricane. But what is the penetration in the general insurance and the life insurance market for among the citizenry?
Sure. When you look at insurance, again, insurance is in most cases, based on a need, right? And so some persons, they have no choice. They have to take out insurance, whether they like it or not, because again, if they have a mortgage, obviously they would need life insurance. Obviously, they would need homeowners insurance. If you look at the motor side, obviously third-party insurance at minimum is in the Road Traffic Act. And so in some cases, persons can't help but to get insurance. On the other side of it, you also have to look at persons, again, have to educate themselves. You have salespersons and you have other persons, customer service representatives, technical representatives, who are only going to sell based on what you say and what you tell them, okay? And so obviously there's a matter of how much you disclose so they could actually price the right type of insurance for the assets for which you need insurance for. So you have to look at all of those things when considering, what is the need and what is the likelihood of getting it and so on and so forth.
Well, all right, let's take a break right here. When we come back, we're going to get deeper into the various aspects of insurance, and we'll get some details about your webinar that's coming up as well. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are talking, and Morning Blend Business, we are talking about insurance in the Bahamas, what you need to know. We'll be back after these messages. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day. What?
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us boy one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet this boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk, you know.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you. And your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Cash it and go. Pay all your bills and cash it and go. Send your money from cash it and go. Tap up your minutes. Cash it and go. Pay insurance and cash it and go.
All Cash and Go merchants can send and receive payments using Sand Dollar, the official digital currency of the Bahamas.
You can do it at cash it and go. Pay all your bills and cash it and go. Send your money from cash it and go. Tap up your minutes. Cash it and go. Pay insurance and cash it and go. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a cash it and go.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Local commercial banks saw a net loss of $62.6 million at the end of 2020 as private sector loan arrears continued to climb. In its most recent economic review for the first 3 months of 2021, the Central Bank of the Bahamas noting that the bank's interest income decreased by 5% to $141.9 million, which overshadowed the nearly 2% drop in interest expense. Also contributing to the loss was the sharp increase in provisions for bad debt, which increased by just over 81% or $32.9 million to settle at $73.4 million. These added provisions, according to the central bank, was in anticipation of a surge in delinquencies due to COVID-19. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Business section. More from the central bank in its quarterly economic review for the first 3 months ending March 31st. Bahamians are requiring more credit than ever, more credit than what is being deposited as domestic credit expanded beyond the growth in the deposit base, leading to decreased bank liquidity and external reserves. During the first quarter, total domestic credit grew by $126 million or 1.4%, while the overall money supply grew just 0.6% or $46.5 million to settle at $7.9 billion. Damiano Sotheby's International Realty has recorded a 300% increase in sales volume year to date and record-breaking sales in the first half of 2021. The company's chief brokerage officer, Lana Redemaker, saying in a statement that the ultra-luxury gated communities have been in high demand, knowing that there's been an uptick in condo sales. She added that the company has experienced an history-making $2.7 million average sales price. According to Rademacher, Nassau was the first real estate market to turn around after the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country, shifted the economy into low gear. She says, though, that Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma are now showing signs of improvement with sales activity at unprecedented levels. And the financial services sector's contribution to the government revenue increased by 4.4% in 2020, amounting to $164.4 million collected from taxes and fees, according to a financial services sector survey. Despite the adverse impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the financial services sector remained stable, with growth registered primarily from increased taxes and expenditure from the sector into the economy. That was according to the Gross Economic Contribution of the Financial Sector 2020 report. The report also stating that contributing to this outturn was a 9.2% rise in transactional taxes on domestic intermediation activities to $94 million, bolstered by increases in stamp taxes on banking transactions at 18.3% and insurance premium taxes 7.9%. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Friday, your market movers, AML Foods Limited moving 7,000 up 8 cents to 6.44. Commonwealth Brewery moving 2,000 up 25 cents to 4.50. Consolidated Water up 5 cents to 2.52. Emira Incorporated up 3 cents to 11.26. The BISX All Share Index closing at 1,973.99 up 3.75. Recapping the week. The local market ended the week with 23,365 shares crossing the exchange in 15 trades to a cumulative value of $176,927. The BISX All-Share Index gained 4.81 points, or 0.24%. Year to date, the index is down 118.47 points, or 5.66%. The week's volume and value leader, AML Foods Limited, moving 10,500 shares in 5 trades with a value of $67,245. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by Seafowl, growing wealth for future generations. And join Seafowl Talks tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove. We are talking with Tamika Dean and Darren Rogers with the Insurance Commission, talking about the insurance industry in the Bahamas. And we're going to get details about their webinar in just a bit. I want to ask you, though, Pam mentioned it about external shocks, about hurricanes and the impact that has. Let's talk about homeowners insurance, what people need to understand, especially as we are right in the middle of the hurricane season. But things that you see as misconceptions when it comes to insurance and homes at this time of year.
We first understand is the importance of being truthful. And we're going to get into that more on the webinar. But just a brief overview of it. Remember, when you take out insurance, it's a contract. And it's going to be based on what information you provide. So it's important to be honest and truthful. There's also there's this thing called condition of average. That is very, very important, and it's really contingent on the information you provide. And so we encourage persons to make sure to know the true value of your home and to take out policies or insurance coverage for that amount or as close to it as possible. But we really would hope that you do that. And that is because if there's a loss, you're going to end up in some problems because once you go below a certain percentage of the value, you're now talking about being assessed at that level. And then that does not include the the deductibles. And so you could very well end up with almost an insignificant amount of funds coming from your policy should you suffer a loss if you underinsure your place. And so we try to encourage persons to be as truthful, as honest, and forthcoming with information pertaining to that.
So, how often do you recommend? Because a lot of persons, they would take out their insurance initially, and the value of your property would change. How often do you recommend, bearing in mind another cost that's added to this to the product, but how often do you recommend persons get an appraisal of their property in order to know the true value of the property?
Well, now let me just be very clear. The insurance commission is not in the business of that, and so the commission doesn't recommend how you conduct yourself when you do that. But I will say personally, try to keep appraisals of at least 3 years or somewhere thereabouts. If you got the place appraised in 2015 and it's now 2021 and the hurricane season just started this month, you may want to try to get yourself up-to-date appraisal, because there would have been a lot changed since.
Okay, and when you're taking out a mortgage, normally what happens is I think some banks, and I want you to correct me as I go along, but some banks will probably take out the insurance for you on the property, like you would pay the bank for the insurance, and a lot of times what happens is they insure the value of the loan. They insure the property for the value of the loan. Am I correct? Not necessarily the appraised values, because the banks, I think, is more concerned about getting their monies back. Is that wise if that is being done? Because if it's only the value and you're not taking into consideration the appraised value, you will be subject to those same issues that you'd have with having your property under insured.
So what I would suggest, well, first is, number one, again, insurance is a contract. And because you are a party in the contract, you have the option to do some things yourself. So, I think banks do it as a courtesy or convenience to their customers, or also for their personal satisfaction. But remember, you are a key stakeholder here in this contract as a party. And so you would want to do things. If you don't get it done yourself, you should at least try to seek comfort that the values and numbers are actually correct. And so that's the first thing I want to say to the general public. Now, again, and I cannot speak for the banks or the banking industry, but I would imagine that an appraisal of some sort would be included in that whole process. And so if you get a copy of the appraisal that's done and you look at the values and the numbers don't match or they're not in close range, I mean, that's something that you have a right to address. But my suggestion is for all persons to become more intimately involved in these processes and just not leave it up to another party to decide your fate.
John, I just wish to add right here that your home should always be insured for the full replacement cost and not the cost of the loan just to get the loan amount back. I also wish to add, in terms of banks and insurance, as I would have stated in the very first line of my introduction, remember that the insurance commission is responsible for all insurance activity. And so when persons say that the bank has given me insurance, rest assured that the insurance commission is involved in that process in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so I just want to make mention there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Health insurance. Let's talk about that and some misconceptions that you've noticed that people have as it relates to that.
So one of the things that we often encounter, and it's a very bothersome or troubling thing, is that there's always a discrepancy with the applications when they're being completed. I would encourage the general public to be, again, honest when the application form is being completed and to be truthful. Also, if someone else is completing your application form for you and you sign that application form, You are responsible for what is on there. So, at the time of a claim, you cannot say, oh, my agent completed this form and I didn't tell them that. You signed it, And so we want to caution persons with that, because the effects, now you're talking about possible misrepresentation, possibly having a claim denied, or possibly having your policy canceled. And so, again, we're going to really address all of these tomorrow, because there are a lot of things that the general public really, really needs to know and be aware of.
Are there really stuff in the fine print of the insurance contract? Because, the average person does not read the insurance contract. That just would be painful. So are there really important stuff in those fine print that can really affect you when it comes time to making a claim?
Well, remember now, your application would form a part of the contract itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything written is important, be it fine or bold print. And you hit the nail on the head. We have to develop a culture of reading. We have to develop a culture of self-dependence when it comes to these things, because, again, you are signing yourself onto a contract that has serious financial implications if there is a loss. And so you're really telling yourself that you're putting your financial situation in the hands of somebody you probably may not even be comfortable with. Just allowing someone else to fill out your information just for the sake of not wanting to go through it. If you have something that you have to sign, please read it.
Okay, so would it be unrealistic, and I'm just asking a question, to require legislation to have all of the important key factors stated up front in the contract? Because normally people look at the insured value and stuff like that. But I'm talking about sometimes those contracts have like 2 or 3 pages in the back where it's really, really fine, and you don't think that is for you to read, right? So can we do with a legislation to say those important key factors should be visible to the front of the contract, and then all of the definition, description, and stuff can be in the fine print, literally fine print?
Sure. I don't think that we go that deep in terms of the actual makeup of the contract and where you can find different things in the contents. However, I will say that all policies have several parts. There's a schedule that is unique to each individual. It states your name, obviously the premium, the expiration, as well as the inception date of the policy. All policies have benefits. All policies have exclusions, and so you as a policyholder, I do agree with you. However, you as a policyholder, it is your duty and your role to know what are your benefits, what are your exclusions, what are your deductibles. Those are the main things that will impact your policies. I personally, I'm a policyholder as well. I've seen where there aren't no surprises, right? You state what you want to be insured, obviously, based on the information that you give. You're given a policy to that effect. It may seem it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, but actually in most cases, it's not very difficult if you know exactly what it is you're paying for and what it is you've asked to be insured. What the Insurance Commission do, however, we have a committee that meets on a monthly basis to discuss outliers when persons aren't satisfied with the outcome of their policy. And we've been collecting data over the years. The data that we've been collecting helps steer our consumer awareness program. And that is where our live seminar now and series now is coming in. And so what we have seen is that I can tell you, if you've been following us, you've noticed that we've put out something like Know Your Policy. And the reason for that is because the data that we've been collecting, we realized that policyholders may not have read the benefits or the exclusions. They may have misrepresented. And so we have been putting out public messages to directly advise consumers and educate consumers on certain things you should be looking for, because if it is not there, then you're obviously going to have a complaint. And that's a part of our role, education, consumer education.
So what are some of the specific issues you've been having, like you've been seeing coming over the years with policyholders?
Sure. And specifically, we've seen one of the biggest things is misrepresentation. Persons, unfortunately, and to be honest with you, as Darren would have mentioned earlier, it depends on who filled out the application, right? Obviously, the policyholder should be filling out their own application. They should be reading every question carefully. We've been very clear with that. Read each question carefully. A lot of persons, they want the insurance and they want it now, and as a result, they may not be as truthful as they should. You have to disclose. If there's non-disclosure, obviously at the time of a claim, it may be denied, or as Darren would have stated, your policy may have been canceled.
So what are we talking about? Like people with pre-existing conditions that they don't admit to, sorts of things?
Yeah,
like that,
and that is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
In most cases, pre-existing conditions, or obviously you stated that you had X, Y, Z, and it isn't until the time of a death, the beneficiary, they see where obviously they can get the benefit because obviously the deceased may have misrepresented in some way, shape, or form. So we've seen that in a lot of cases. We may also see quantum disputes as well. Obviously, on the general side, you may say, obviously this was worth X, Y, Z, but I believe it was worth X, Y, Z, and there's obviously a back and forth there. And again, in some of the cases, it may be because of underinsurance. And as Darren would have stated, we've advised persons to ensure that as much as possible, try to get within obviously a certain percentage of the full replacement cost of your home. You know, persons they've been adding fences and gates and pools and all of these other additives just to make their house, obviously more valuable. And they know that, but they have not been obviously adjusting the value. I will say though, on the general side, general insurance is short term. It expires after 1 year. And we have been encouraging persons not just to renew my policy, but have those conversations with your customer service representatives. Say to them, on the renewal form, they ask the question, are there any changes? Persons say no because obviously they want to pay the same premium. However, there are also payment options. And what I've recognized over the years is in some of the cases, most persons who can't afford to pay the premiums, most persons who obviously need to pay the premiums. Unfortunately, that is the case. You definitely want to have these conversations to ensure that your asset is covered.
Okay, I have a scenario. So you built your home a long time ago, right? And you just got the bare necessities. And then, after a while, like you said, you put up a wall and you had some kids or grandkids and you want to put in a pool and all of these things that you're adding to your house, I guess, increase the value of your house. Like you can do with content insurance. You can separately insure the content of your home. Can there be a way where you build these amenities, but say, you know what? I don't need them insured. I just need my home insured. And so and have a way where that will not affect the overall value of your home and the insurance premium that you're paying.
Okay, and so I just want to make mention here that, again, we would leave that question more to the general insurance industry as we are regulators, and so we regulate and we supervise the industry and what's happening. But again, that's a conversation that can happen between you and your insurer, and I'm certain that they'll be able to advise you appropriately.
Yeah, I think there should be options for that because people, they make sacrifices to get a mortgage. You don't want to add that into the mortgage because it's going to be a lot, and so you want to do some stuff on the side. So I think you should be allowed to keep the insurance on your home, that if something happens to your home, that's what you will have to deal with, as opposed to if the pool got destroyed, you just have to leave that aside and not include that in the overall value of your home.
Well, remember, I would have stated earlier that insurance is a contract. And with that in mind, when you go to take out your insurance policy or you get coverage, it's a contract. And if you wish, you can ask questions. You could seek to have an exclusion or an endorsement. That means you could have something included, have something not included. It's up to you to make the request. It's up to the company to determine whether or not they're willing to adjust the risk accordingly. But by all means, ask the question. It's a contract, and with contracts, you negotiate.
But from your experience as regulator, can they do that? Because you mentioned that people misrepresentation. The contract is annual and people add the wall and they add the pool, but because they don't want to increase their premium, they keep it the same. But from your experience being the regulators, Will that be a problem generally if somebody wants to exclude those additional amenities to their home owner's insurance?
I mean, again, that's something that the general insurers would probably want to answer because that's their business. We, like Tamika would have said, we're in the regulatory aspect of it. But again, my thing is it's a contract.
Yeah.
If you have a question, speak to your insurer. If you make some changes or modifications, additions, etc., you may want to notify them that, hey, there's been a material change in my item that is covered.
I suspect they won't have any issue. I mean, if you recognize you won't be getting the full value, I mean, that's up to you, right? That's in your head.
Yeah, so it's always good to keep. Again, it's a contract. It's good to keep that open dialogue going, to be honest and upfront with all information that's provided, so that you can make certain that if there is a loss, you're not surprised to your own disappointment.
Right. So speaking of education, I know deductible is always a very serious word. People seem to have some challenges with that. Are we getting better with understanding how those work, or are you still seeing the same misunderstandings there?
I mean, I think people generally understand what it is or how it works. What I think may need to happen is people may need to remember that it does apply. Because you know it, you have an idea of it up front, but at the time of the claim, somehow it just hits you as a big shocker, but you then remember. Also, you have the right again to negotiate if you want a higher deductible, which will give you a lower premium, and it has the same inverse relationship. You may want a lower deductible, you're going to pay a higher premium. But again, as Tamika would have stated, and as I would have stated earlier, you have the right to ask these questions, to negotiate, but by all means, you also need to read your contracts.
Okay, let me go back to the health insurance. Let me give a scenario. Let's say I'm a diabetic, but I don't know that I'm a diabetic, and I died from complications brought on by diabetes. Will my beneficiaries be able to claim on my insurance once the insurer finds out that I died from diabetes, but I did not state that on the application form because I didn't know I had diabetes?
So at the time that you would have completed the application, which again forms a part of the policy contract, were you formally diagnosed?
No, I had it, but I didn't know.
Okay, so I mean, you answered truthfully.
Okay.
You entered into a contract to to the best of your knowledge. All your information was true and correct as far as you were aware. You were not diagnosed. There's nothing on record to say, okay, this contract was entered into in 2010, but we believe that she may have had it from 2006. Is there anything to say that? What's going to happen is, in many cases, insurers will do their due diligence. That's a part of their underwriting regiment. And so, as such, they will check your medical records. And so if you entered into the contract in 2010, but you were diagnosed in 2014, that should not be an issue. There's also something called a contestability period. We'll get into that more tomorrow if need be. But you just need to make certain that you answer all questions truthfully on your application.
Okay. Here's a text. Someone's asking here. There's a company that does not offer payment option plans for home renewal. Is there a general rule of law that mandates insurers to offer payment plans to customers? Do you all have much of a say in that?
I mean, again, it's a contract. I know you're getting tired of me saying that. And the company has a right to offer payment plans or to not offer payment plans.
Okay. All right.
I'm providing a service to you, and I tell you that this is the cost for that service, and shouldn't it be up to me to decide whether or not I want to take full payment, or do I want to allow you to spread the payment over 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is? Because remember now, if you are able to make payments on your policy premium, then that's another contract. You enter into another contract to say, I will pay this amount over this period of time at this rate of interest or with this service fee, whatever the contract states.
I mean, that sounds good if you have an option, right? Because you should have the option to go to another insurance company. But I know that I don't know if things have changed. But I know when I was getting a mortgage, I had to go with the insurance company that the bank was telling me to go with, and I tried to go with another one, and I was forced to go with the one they recommended. So if they're going to force you, I don't know if that's still the case now, but if they're going to force that's not the case anymore.
That is not the case,
Okay.
and as far as I'm aware, that has never been the case.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Correct.
I don't want.
Well, we'll
I
have to-
apologize. I don't want to get into that at the moment.
Yeah.
But persons have a freedom to choose whichever insurer they would like to go with.
Okay.
I will say again that the Insurance Commission, we regulate all insurance activity in and from within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and I'm saying that to state that if, for whatever reason, a policyholder is not pleased or satisfied with the services of one insurer, I would have
No.
mentioned the numbers of earlier that they have a lot of options. They have a lot of intermediaries they can go to discuss different insurers.
Okay,
They probably
I'll call
strongly
you.
recommended
Well,
that
it
you
was
go
very
to them.
strong, so strong that I couldn't move. But I'll call you off air and tell you about that one. But anyway, let's talk about the auto insurance sector briefly before we have to take another break, and then we get into the webinar. What do people need to know and keep in mind, and what do you see as being missteps that people make still to this day?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to, I guess, my basic statement, which is providing true and correct information and reading your contract. You don't want to misrepresent, provide incorrect information, because when there's time for a claim, if it is discovered that you breached the contract by providing false information or incorrect information intentionally, so now you're talking about avoided contract. Now you're talking about having a loss that you cannot collect on because you were not honest. Also, within the contract, there are conditions, okay? And that's another thing people have to pay attention to. There are conditions that govern the effect of the contract. And so those conditions must be met. For example, just something as basic as maintaining a vehicle. You are, in many cases, in contracts that I've seen, you're required to maintain your vehicle in a particular manner. So if you decide not to maintain it by not changing your brakes, and you have an accident and it is discovered that you had the accident because you didn't have any brakes, well, guess what? You just breached your contract, and you're going to most likely have to pay that loss or deal with that loss yourself.
Wow. Okay. Because a lot of people driving around here with bald tires and getting in accidents. That's a serious
that's a part
thing.
of maintaining your contract.
Yep. All right.
I just going back to general insurance, just wish to add to that. General insurance, obviously, there's always a base premium. We've talked about this, especially that say during a comprehensive insurance, there's a base premiums, and obviously loads and discounts are added to that before the final premium, and it's based on probably different physical and moral hazards. You know, sometimes you may have a bartender, obviously that will be taken in consideration. Obviously because of the role that they play at work, right? That may be something as well as obviously there may be discounts for no claims. And so the thing is, at the end of the day, it's important that you again answer every question correctly, and so the premium can be obviously allocated for correctly, and obviously you'll be getting the benefit at the end of the day. I just think we've repeated that so many times this morning, but I think it's very important that one, you answer every question, but also answer it truthfully and have that conversation. Persons, what they do is obviously they're in a rush to go. They just want to sign. Where can I sign? I need this now. But sometimes the quickest thing is not obviously the best, and if so, pick up the phone and call. A lot of times we blame the insurance company, we blame the broker, we blame the salesperson, but we have to consider our role and what we have done as well, and what would have affected our policy.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get back. We'll get some details about the webinar, what people need to do if they want to be a part of this tomorrow. This is Morning Blend Business. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Cash and go. Pay all your bills and cash and go. Send your money from cash and go. Top up your minutes. Cash and go. Pay insurance and cash and go.
All Cash and Go merchants can send and receive payments using Sand Dollar, the official digital currency of the Bahamas.
You can do it at cash and go. Pay all your bills at cash and go. Send your money from cash and go. Top up your minutes. Cash and go. Pay insurance at cash and go. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's at cash and go.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. All right, so we're talking with Tamika Dean and Darren Rogers about insurance, and they're with the Insurance Commission. And I think we're going to have, if you wouldn't mind, we'd love to have you back at some point, because I think we can do a whole show on car insurance and in this country, what's happening in the auto insurance sector. So many people, so many horror stories of what people go through. I'd love to get your views on that, but maybe we can do that in a few weeks or so. I don't know. But we'll talk about that. All right, but let's get the details on the webinar series and what's going to be happening tomorrow. Tell us about that. Who can take part in this? What can we expect?
So the webinar is open to all. It's open to all. It's free of charge. What we would want persons to do is to go to our website, which is www.icb.gov.bs, and you can register for the webinar at that site. Again, it's free of charge and it's open to all and sundry. Tomorrow on the webinar, we really want to cover, well, pretty much what most of what we started to we want persons specifically to understand who the Insurance Commission is. We want to talk about no policy. We want to talk about the role of a justice. And so tomorrow's webinar is going to be quite informative, filled with information. There's going to be a Q&A as well, where persons would be able to answer questions to the panelists, where concerns may be able to be addressed. And so we really want persons in thinking that this to be our only or our last one.
Okay, all right. And again, that's 10 o'clock tomorrow. It's going to be on Zoom. And they do need to register by going to your website. Is that right?
Yeah. I just wanted to add that we also have social media platforms. They could find us on Facebook and LinkedIn at Insurance Commission of the Bahamas. Click on the link. We will send you a confirmation email. Again, it's free of charge. We simply want your attendance and your participation. This is the time now to ask us all of the relevant questions, because obviously you want the answers.
Yep. And definitely people are interested. A number of messages we've been getting today. So this is great stuff. And as you said, I hope this is... there will be many of these to come. Hopefully that'll be the case. But thank you both so much for talking with us this morning. Tamika Dean and Darren Rogers with the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas. It was a pleasure. Thanks again for helping us to understand the payment insurance industry.
And thank you for having us.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Pamela.
Thank you, Dwight.
Always a pleasure.
Blessed week, Bahamas.
You too. We'll see you next week, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan. Have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned on the clock with Aaron Green coming up next.